a little bit different from my usual. And this is based on an experience that I had, as I said, like I had a spiritual awakening 1 month after my 40th birthday, where everything started to change for me. Everything started to change, and it will give you an insight into why I have my platform and why I talk in depth about many different subjects. There's a lot of information that I have that I didn't know anything about before, like anything at all. And I guess sometimes maybe some of you might wonder, oh, where does Fox come up with this stuff? Where does she come up with this stuff? A lot of it is actually fed to me intuitively. It's intuitive. I have very prophetic dreams. I have political dreams. I am led to certain areas to discuss. I'm led to Google certain things and to speak on certain things. And there are other things that I just don't want to speak on. And generally, I was already talking about a lot of stuff 2 years prior to me starting to have a TikTok page to discuss life and the world. So, yes, where to begin? 1 month after my 40th birthday, crazy things started happening to me. Crazy things started happening to me. I was in contact with an old friend of mine from many years ago, probably like 15 years ago. And when we reconnected, it turns out we were actually twin flames. I don't know if you guys know anything about twin flames. So this is coming from me, who is an atheist, okay? So I was an atheist this whole entire time. I thought that you died and that was it. You know, you just turn into the dust and you have an eternal sleep. Yeah, I'm very good. Thank you, Naomi. Good to see you. And I didn't believe in past lives, afterlives, nothing. It was just, that's it. We're just done. But then 1 month after my 40th birthday, I started to have all of these visions. I can start to see things with my eyes open and my eyes closed. And it was the most terrifying time of my life. I was crying, I was screaming, like, what the hell is happening to me? Let me just go back to my old life. It was very scary, very scary. And from then I started to be led to certain information to understand what was happening to me. And it was a twin flame connection and a Kundalini awakening. And I don't know if you guys have heard of this phrase or term before, but basically it's like when this new energy starts going, like coursing through your body, right? So let me read the definition of actually what it is so I can tell you accurately. But I just remember at that time when this energy was going through me, as I was sleeping, I was literally shaking like this. I could not fall asleep without my body shaking for probably about 1.5 years, every night, shaking. And so, yeah, as I said, so when the Kundalini happens, it's basically when the masculine and feminine energy starts to meet in your body and is activated for the first time. And it is a very energetically draining experience. I've probably spent the first year of this so tired. I was so tired, so tired. And it basically is your consciousness awakening. And again, as I say, you start to see things clearly, you start to hear things better, you start to taste differently. Like all of your senses just come alive when you have a spiritual awakening. All of your senses come alive. And as I said, it's very scary, but at the same time, it is so beautiful. It really is so beautiful. And you get to see the world in such a huge way, so much bigger way than ever expected. And so how it's described, the Kundalini awakening, in Sanskrit, Kundal means coiled snake. And Kundalini refers to the energy that is believed in tantric yoga tradition to be present within each of us since birth and coiled at the base of the spine. Kundalini energy is considered to be the ultimate life force and the source of our creative power, spiritual gifts, and Shakti, or divine feminine energy, which is what was activated in me. So for me personally, for a long time, I'd been in my masculine energy. I'm a very independent woman. Lived by myself for a long time, you know, going everywhere I want to go around the world, not answering to anybody, incredibly fierce. And that was very much my masculine energy. But then when the Kundalini happened, I had to remember my feminine energy. I had to remember what it's like to be a cisgendered heterosexual woman, right? So this was about me really kind of getting back into that feminine energy of being compassionate, of being able to flow with life, not making decisions, because I was used to making so many decisions. Now I just flow and I use my intuition and my inner wisdom. I have patience, receptivity. I'm very creative and I'm emotional, but it's with control, because I also have my masculine side, which, you know, is balanced. So when we have an unhealed masculine side, that's when people are too dominant and they're aggressive and they're controlling and they have anxiety. But if they have too little feminine energy, it's when you're fearful, withdrawn. If you have too much feminine energy, then that's when you get depressed. I was very depressed, so I was very much in my wounded feminine energy. I had depression for many, many years. I was very confused. Sometimes I would get stagnant, and in relationships, I did find myself to be kind of a bit needy. I would wallow as well, and I'd be overly emotional. And when you have insufficient feminine energy, that means you can be smothering, you can be smothering of people. You can be rigid, you can be overthinking, you can be nervous, you can be quite cold and blocked. So us as people, what we're tasked to do is actually balance all of the energies within us. And as part of the spiritual awakening, I started to receive spiritual political messages. And I was getting told things about late stage capitalism before I'd even known what capitalism is. So you guys who join my lives, right, you hear me talk a lot about a lot of stuff. And again, as I said earlier, maybe you wonder where this all comes from. I would literally be sleeping and some thought would come into my head. As I said, I heard in my head, late stage capitalism. And I said, what the hell is that? Let me look up what capitalism is. Oh my God, this is what capitalism is. And this is why I say to you guys, it was born in the UK. It was a Scottish man who created it. It was after slavery and they replaced this and blah, blah, blah. This is where it comes from. It comes from the ether, these things. And I've had political dreams. So I had a dream after your party. So Jeremy Corbyn, his your party, after that crazy shit that happened, if you guys are very aware of it, it went tits up basically with Zahara Sultana, right? Don't know if you guys are on the mailing list or know about it, that it just kind of blew up and the traction got lost. A couple of days after that situation happened, frickin' Jeremy Corbyn came to me in the dream, and I heard him talking to me saying, I've really fucked up. I've really messed up. And he put his head on my shoulder and he said, I don't know how to fix this with Zara. I said, what the hell? And the funny thing is, I'm not even that involved in Jeremy Corbyn. I follow him and I've seen him talk once live, which I was very surprised at. I went to a protest not long before I left the UK and I saw Jeremy Corbyn speak. Yeah, so I don't follow Jeremy Corbyn. I don't have, and even generally actually anybody, I don't follow people and watch everything that they're saying because my mind has got too much shit going on. But Jeremy Corbyn came to me in a dream, put his head on my shoulder and started crying like I fucked it. And I said, oh my God. And 2 days ago, guess who else I had a dream about? Tommy Robinson. 2 days ago, I was sitting on a beach and I had a dream that Tommy Robinson had been unalived. And next to me was a woman on the phone talking, and somebody else had a dream that Tommy Robinson had been unalived. And I said, I had the same dream. And with that, the lady put down the phone. And I then went in a plane and I was trying to tell everybody, Tommy Robinson is gone. Tommy Robinson is gone. And somebody else said, shh, you can't say anything. You can't say anything about this because the people will mobilize. The people will mobilize. And the funny thing is, I actually did put a tweet on my page and then my dad was like, don't talk about that. Don't talk about that. I said, okay, let me delete that shit. Delete that shit. So those are two massive political dreams that I've had. One about Jeremy Corbyn, one about Tommy Robinson. I also received a message 2 years ago, I think it was, about the USA. And actually, even in a meditation, because the funny thing is, some of you guys know I'm ADHD and things like meditation is very, very difficult for me because of my attention span. But since my spiritual awakening, I've been able to meditate. And in this meditation, I saw an image of Trump. And of course, Trump went on to win. I also receive sometimes monologues of messages. And in this one message I received over a year ago, it said, United States would fall, and so would Japan. Because the United States is not United States. Clearly it's not united. The rest of the world needs to be the United States. And it also told me that there was going to be very significant tsunamis happening in the US. Yeah, good to see you, Steph. Thank you. I'm well. Also, Alexandra as well. Good to see you. So I started to receive these messages about natural disasters and the fact that there doesn't seem to be, and as we know, a lot of combating, right, against some of these dark energies that we have on this planet. We have a lot of ego, like white men in their ego who are harming everybody. And I know we're all sitting there thinking, what the fuck's going to happen? Like, how is this going to get resolved? I've heard natural disasters are really going to take place. And to resolve a lot of that, because us people, we don't have it in ourselves to go and, pew people and unalive people. That's not in our energy. So the energy of the world needs to rectify itself. Yeah. This is Beth. I have a feeling Yellowstone is going to go this year. Yellowstone, really? Wow. Well, again, yeah, natural places. So, and as part of this, of course, we know white people are talking about the great replacement theory. White people have really brought so much negative energy to this world where they think it's the great replacement theory. But again, it's nature resetting itself. Anything that is incompatible with the world is naturally going extinct. And as part of it, white people are part of it. Kelza, yeah, I reckon we're in the awakening stage of divine feminine. Absolutely. Because being on social media and being awakened as a divine feminine, I have seen so many women saying the same thing. The same thing. We're talking about matriarchy now. We're talking about women taking charge like we used to. Going back to that divine feminine energy, going back to the healing, to the compassion, to using our intuition, for being patient and, making sure that we're being creative and putting that love back in the world, that emotion that has been lost through masculine energy, and it's so important that women, we continue to heal ourselves every single day, and know where our energy should be going, right? Because it's so easy to get sucked into some of these negative spaces that live on TikTok, especially, and dealing with men in these spaces. My God, dealing with men in these spaces is a freaking nightmare, right? It's a nightmare. So I really wish that women would be very conscious about where they spend their time. I don't spend my time actually in any, I don't think I go to any men's lives, actually. I used to go to a couple, but even then I would only go in there maybe 2 or 3 times. So I'd be like, this is angry. Like, these people are so angry and they don't know what they're talking about, really. And the fact that when you as a woman go to these masculine spaces, the disrespect, anti-racist mum, good to see you. I'm glad you've been having a break this weekend. Yeah, I did too. I actually uninstalled the app. I uninstalled it on Friday and then reinstalled it just for this live. I uninstalled it. Spending time in these masculine spaces, they just don't have a clue about what's going on in the world. And a lot of them see everything as entertainment. They don't understand what is actually happening in this world. They don't understand that the things that they say have real consequences, real life consequences. They're just like, well, let me do a live about this topic because it will get me lives and it will get me traction and I'll get some gifts. Tap up the lives, guys. Tap up the live. It's ridiculous. Anti-racist mum, I'm going to be more boundaried about the lives I go to. Very good. I'm very pleased to hear that, anti-racist mum. Because anti-racist mum, your energy is so good and you know what you're talking about. And the last thing I want for you is to have that energy go down, because you're part of the next generation of women. Like, you're really instrumental in this. Kelza as well, you too. Kelza, you're one of the very few black women, actually, I do know, that have been on certain spiritual spaces. I've seen you because I followed you. And the things that we're talking about, of course, we're talking about the motherland as well, Kelza. I followed you to that African space recently. So I know you know what's going on, and your energy is so good, Kelsa. Like, you're so calm and you're so patient as a person. So you are also embodying really great masculine and feminine energy, and I really see the balance in you as well. So excellent work for you as well, Kelsa. This is Beth. Yep, they don't believe in karma. Karma is real and it just bites you when you least expect it. Absolutely. Karma is real. Karma is real. I think the funniest thing about me having this platform, right, is I have a lot of English people. Of course, my platform is mainly about English people and English history. Is they'll be like, oh, yeah, you Fox, you're going to have karma as well. Like, what? Don't project onto me. What kind of karma do you think that I'm going to experience? Me? What kind of karma do you think me, in my heritage and my lineage, what karma do you think that my people have done to the world? Stop projecting onto me, people. You can't do that here. You can't do that here. So yeah, thank you, Kelsa. Love to you, girl. Love to you. So yes, this is definitely about the divine feminine, about women going forward, the way that we can protect our energy, know when it's time to reel ourselves in. And even the live that I had Friday, you know, it was kind of like we did touch on it a little bit, right, about some masculine spaces. And as I said, is that I create the space and women need to create more spaces. I know there's a few of you here. I'm like, where's your live? Anti-racist mum. I'm like, where's your live? I'm like, where's your live? We need more women's spaces. We need more women's lives. We need more conversations. I've really enjoyed some of the lives that I've done, which have inadvertently ended up being more, you know, all women's panels. I'm like, yeah, this is great. We're laughing, we're joking, we're talking about real shit though at the same time. Because what happens every time a man gets involved? The conversation goes left, it all goes overly emotional, it goes and messy, and then they start to hurl insults, and they're just so freaking emotionally underdeveloped. They're so underdeveloped, and it's so underproductive, counterproductive, the conversations with men. Pumpkinhead 1111, good to see you. And yeah, we'll talk about angel numbers a little bit as well. Hopefully it's karmic chocolate and a nice nice cupcake. Sammy, us Black Panthers need to grow some balls and say something outrageous to make it stand out at least. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure that I've been doing it. This is my platform. I talk a lot on this platform. I'm very vocal with everything that I say. I don't censor anything. Anti-racist mum, just need to get through your job stuff. Oh yeah, can you update me? Send me a message if you'd like to, anti-racist mum, about what's going on with that and where you're at. Alexandra, it's exhausting having to take on everyone else's emotions. This is why boundaries are important, really, knowing when to switch off. I'm a very empathetic person, but in my wounded feminine, I was too empathetic and taken on too much energy from other people, thinking that I needed to heal everybody and heal the world and heal everyone around me. Oh, we can't do it. We can't do it. We literally can't do it. And it is exhausting. And so that's where we need to figure out, okay, I can talk my shit and I can say what I need to say, but I need to reserve most of the energy for me. You know, you have to reserve most of it for yourself. It is so important, because the job that we have to do as awakened women, awakened in our divine feminine energy, because of course this goes for men too, if they're in their divine feminine, we have to learn how to reserve like 99% of our energy. And you see me on these lives, you see me, I'm laughing a lot of the time, I'm taking the piss out of men. I'm just like, I don't really get energetically drained. Like, truly, the old me would have, the old me definitely would have, but generally, I'm all right. I'm all right, because I did a lot of work. I've talked about this before. You know, I've done 8 months of cognitive behavioral therapy. I moved country. You know, I did so many things to get myself out of the negative energy, which does live in the UK. UK is bad vibes. You know, I did a lot of work, which has enabled me to free myself from all of these energetic shackles that I was feeling. Kruger, good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Really, thank you for being here. Thank you, all of you here. Aerodynamic Productions as well. Good to see you from time to time. Thank you for leaving comments as you do. Rasta Pinky, always a joy to see you, my love. Always good to see you. Pumpkinhead, remember to do something magical for your inner child today. See you all next time. Good to see you. Thank you so much, Pumpkin, for coming by. Yeah, inner healing and inner child work is so important. That's one of the things that I've really taken time to do as part of the spiritual awakening. Goodness me, shadow work, inner child healing, meditation, Reiki, going to healing festivals. You guys will know that I mentioned a healing festival that I go to in Prague. This year, I think, is going to be my last year because I feel like the energies are settled. I know what I'm doing now. I know what I'm supposed to be saying, where I'm supposed to be going. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Rasta Pinky. Yeah, there's been a lot of things that I've had to learn in the last 2 years. This will be my 3rd year. November the 1st was when shit started happening to me. And yeah, I've had there's even more that's happened. So when I've said before that I'm an alien, my mods here, you guys will know, I've even said in the chat, I'm an alien. I know my energy does not come from Earth. I know it. When you're a spiritually awakened person and you feel so different, you kind of think like you don't belong on Earth. Like, Earth is fucked up, man. Earth is so fucked up. This place is crazy. Where you look at, and if you spend a lot of time looking up at the stars all the time, you just think, that is actually more interesting up there. I spend a lot of time, and even so now I've moved, I don't have a lot of light pollution where I am, right? So I'm looking up at the stars all of the time, and I'm just like, and after I had the spiritual awakening, I started to see myself in other realms. It is too much of a terrible human ego if you think that we are the only existence in how vast this universe is. The human ego is the most horriblest thing to happen to humans. Really, it is ridiculous how vast the universe is, and you think we're the only ones here? You think we're the only ones here? That is arrogance on the next level. Kruger, Reiki is your thing. You're going to go back to doing it. Excellent. Really, really good. Rasta Pinky, same here. You love stargazing. This is Beth, same here. I love looking up and taking photos. Absolutely, me too. I think, is it a full moon today? Is it a full moon? It looks like a full moon. I'm not sure if it is fully full at the moment. So, of course, when there's a full moon that happens, a lot of the energies, you're getting back to tarot as well. Amazing. Yeah, when I had my spiritual awakening, I really got into tarot in a big way. I've got some really beautiful decks, and my decks were really helping me. Leanne, good to see you. Happy Monday. The moon calls you, Kruger. Yes, me too sometimes. Sometimes the pull is stronger than other times, but generally, I find myself again looking up at the moon when it's a really beautiful small crescent. I love it. It looks like the end of a toenail. I'm like, and when it's a full moon, also. To be honest, I feel kind of a bit envious over those women whose cycles are so in tune with the moon. Mine isn't, because I have irregular cycles. So I'm not entirely in tune, but sometimes I do feel the energies of the moon so freaking strongly. Oh my God. I did a meditation under a full moon last August. It sunk. I'm generally a very happy person. Like, I talked about that I had depression for a long time. For 5 years, I was all cool. I did a release underneath a full moon last August. It sunk me into the deepest depression. I couldn't even believe. I could not believe. I was crying. I was screaming. I was like, what the hell is wrong? What the hell has happened? And now I'm kind of getting out of it a little bit. But I've had to go back to the NHS and be like, can you help me a little bit? Because this is really fucked up. Really fucked up. So yeah, so be careful, guys. If you do meditations under full moon, sometimes that shit is just too powerful. It's too powerful. Rasta Pinky, yes, it must be full moon according to the day you've had. Okay, so you've had a bit of a tricky one. Anti-racist mum, I've been trying to get back into meditation over the weekend, but I slipped. You know, sometimes all it takes is just 5 minutes in a day. You know, I think that's the beautiful thing about meditation. You can do it wherever you are. I would do it sometimes in a car. If I've stopped the engine, I'd just be like, few deep breaths, center myself, listen to my intuition, listen to my inner thoughts, listen to the other thoughts that are coming through, and be like, right, okay, I can tackle my day. Because I used to make proper time for meditation, but now it's when I'm called for meditation if I feel like it's really important. Hi, Hetty, good to see you. Good to see you. Journaling, absolutely, Alexandra. Yes, journaling does help indeed. From my spiritual awakening, I was journaling every single day. It was up until April last year. Was it April last year? I can't remember the month that I started to kind of drop off a little bit, but I do log my dreams. My dreams are very, 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 very telling. I don't know if you were here in the beginning. I said about a couple of political dreams that I've had and intuitive messages that I receive. So I do log those. I love those. Kruger Anderson, it's good to bring you back into balance. That's right. Yes. Anti-racist mum, meditation, I'm assuming the comment is about. You do that all the time. You as meaning longer recharging sessions. Oh, okay. Yes, most definitely. Most definitely. So when I find my energy is too crazy, that's when I do go back to Reiki. I have a great Reiki lady here where I live, really great Reiki lady. And so when my energy is feeling too much, and actually I'm very aware of what energy is mine and what is other people's. I'm very aware of that now. I'm very aware because sometimes, and this is something, if you guys haven't recognized this, especially us as women, all of you who are women here, or if you identify as female, identify as woman, sometimes when you have a thought of somebody else and it is consistent, that's not your energy, by the way, that's their energy. And if it starts to affect you in a very big way, you need to do some kind of energy healing or some kind of meditation to make sure that that energy is balanced because you are dealing with somebody else's energy. As part of my spiritual awakening, I awakened as a twin flame, as I mentioned. So that means my energy is naturally shared with another person. Twin flames don't also necessarily have to be people. They could be animals, they could be trees, anything that's living. It could be anything that's of nature. My twin flame is another gentleman of mine that I've known for a long time. And when I was spiritually awakened, the energy I felt from him was intense. So freaking intense, so intense, in fact, that I ended up having about 70 dreams of the guy in about 2 years, over 70. Imagine that, right? Having over 70 dreams of the same person. 70. They've dropped off now, they've calmed down now, which is good, which means that he's also dealing with his own spiritual awakening. He's dealing with the things that he needs to do. He needs to come into his feminine energy and he needs to balance his masculine energy too. So we're both doing the work that we need to do, which is for the good of humanity. Forever Me, good to see you. You say you have the wildest dreams. It's actually the most random stuff. Yeah, me too. I hope you're writing these things down. I hope that you're writing these things down because, again, these things are so interesting and they tell you a lot about the world. They tell you a lot about the world. Kruger, it's wild when you know what they are thinking. Yeah, I literally hear the thoughts of other people. I hear them so clearly, so clearly. I remember once I was vacuuming and I heard my twin flame actually doing affirmations to himself. I was like, I could bloody hear you. I could hear a lot of things actually that he does say, but I also hear the voice of my mother. I've heard the voice of my dog, my first dog that passed away. My first dog was very instrumental actually in awakening the emotional side of myself. I was very cold for a long time, very, very cold as a person. And my first dog allowed me to awaken my heart. Yeah, so you guys know that I talk a lot about dogs on here. I've got a litter of puppies in my kennel at the moment from a homeless street dog that's come and given birth here. So I'm very in tune with animals. I'm very in tune with dogs. Like, dogs are the freaking best. I love them so much. I have a farm dog, like I live opposite a farm, which I mentioned, and that dog is always here all of the time. He spends more time at my house than he does at the farm. And yeah, dogs are definitely part of my spiritual awakening. They've allowed me to communicate in more ways than just human to human. When you are an awakened woman, of course, we know that we can connect through our thoughts, we can connect through our emotions, whereas men, they just think that you can connect just by talking or through sex. You know, they're very low vibrational on that, and they have not done enough of their evolution yet to know that we can actually communicate in many, many different ways. Forever Me, 70 of a man couldn't be me. Well, yeah, I was not expecting it. I was not expecting to have 70 dreams of the same person. It was wild and interesting. I actually started having dreams of people I used to go to school with, like over 20 years, actually not even, from a kid age, from over 30 years. I started having dreams of school people that I'd never even thought about. Kids from school. I said, why am I having dreams about these people? I don't even know. I don't know to this day why I'm having dreams of people from school. I literally don't know. I'm sure I will receive a reason as to why that's happening. Forever me, yes, you should definitely write down your dreams. Definitely write down your dreams, because they are all connected and they will be for a reason. Rasta Pinky, your craziest dreams are when you're pregnant. Yeah, it enlightened you to what you were seeing, wasn't seeing in real life. Yeah, I've had a couple of pregnancy dreams as well. They terrified me because I'm like, I don't want the babies. I don't want the babies. But I understood actually I was supposed to have like a spiritual baby in a past life. In a past life, I've also had children too, and in this life I'm not going to have children. I'm not supposed to have children. As a lot of you guys know, that women are really coming into their divine feminine, which means that children are not part of the story as well. We are able to be more independent. We know that this world is broken, so we don't want to bring children into a broken world. Men also are not stepping up and being the fathers that they need to be. We're also in late stage capitalism, so having children in the Western world is completely unaffordable. So those of us who are awakened, we know it's actually for the good of humanity not to bring children into the world. But those of us who are mothers, we know that we have a very big job on our hands to make sure that our children are more enlightened than ever. It is not a case of, it's so sad that kids aren't really getting to be kids anymore. Kids are so much more advanced, but also it's beautiful. Like, I love having conversations with kids now. I'm talking to them. I'm having more grown up conversations with children than I am with men my own age. Like, truly. Men my own age and men who are older are unable to have the same conversations as children who are 5 or 6 years old. They need to be freaking embarrassed. Hermit Sapien, you're here. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, Hermit Sapien. Of course, we had a spiritual chat, Hermit, on, I can't remember whose live it was, but we talked about that. We talked about it a lot. Okay, we've got Neon Blade on the panel. Neon Blade, how are you?
I'm good. Can you read people's energy?
Interesting question. Yes. Okay. I wouldn't say that I do it. I mean, it's not something that is done intuitively. I mean, on purpose, sorry. It is something that I do pick up, very much so. If somebody has a very, very strong negative energy, I absolutely pick that up. And I don't spend my time in these places at all. And that's actually part of the reason why I left the UK, because I was picking it up too much.
Oh, yeah.
I was picking it up way too much, and it was adding to my depression and adding to the sadness that I felt in my life. So yes, I say I mostly pick up the negative. I obviously pick up positive energy as well. So I wouldn't say that I read it. I just feel it. What about you?
I just wanted to ask, because I've been told that I have like negative energy, but I'm just minding my own business.
Do you think that somebody might be projecting onto you? Because that's what happens sometimes. A lot of these people say that you have negative energy, but it's really themselves.
Oh, I hope that's the case.
So you're not quite sure yet?
No, I'm not. I don't really know about the whole energy stuff.
Okay, well, welcome to this conversation then. I'm really glad that you're here. So do you mind me asking how old you are?
I'm 18, turning 19.
18, so yeah, you're still very new to this earth. I'm 42, right? And I say this stuff is, me understanding energies has only been in the last 2 years, right? So I'm very new to this, and you're going to be way more advanced than I am, because you're obviously here at a young age. So what the universe wants us to do, what we need to do as women, is really understand ourselves. Okay, so what this society unfortunately does is it takes us away from ourselves. We're making us go to school and making us do jobs and making us have relationships and spend time with family, and have friends, and not really spend enough time knowing ourselves. To know yourself is to love yourself, is to know how to be a great human, right? So if you spend more time getting to know yourself, then you will understand your own energy much better, and you will understand if somebody is trying to harm you with those comments, because sometimes that's what people do. As I said, it's projection. when people don't know themselves, they're very quick to judge others, very quick to judge others. So, you know, me being a black woman, are you a sister? You sound black.
Yeah, I'm biracial black.
You're biracial. So generally in your existence, you will have a lot of people as well also telling you things about yourself because you're biracial. And when you have a little drop of black, a little drop of melanin in there, whether you're black, brown, biracial, people will try to really say things about you a lot of the time, which actually isn't true. So again, it is about you building your own confidence and knowing yourself. So when somebody says something like that to you, you're like, I think you're projecting, sir, or I think you're projecting, madam, because I'm not negative. What you should be doing is reflecting it back to them and say, well, you're the one who's negative, actually. You know, if you know yourself, then you can definitely bat it back. And when you get older and older, you'll deal with that a lot of people who will come to you with bullshit, and you have to create the strongest armor that gets you to bat it away all the time. The platform that I have, the women here and the men here will know that I deal with a lot of negativity from jealous white people, jealous English people. My platform is very much about English people and British history, and of course they hate that. You know, so I'm dealing with a lot of their shit, but I'm always making jokes. I'm always humiliating them. The old me would have taken that all to heart. I would have been like, oh my God, what am I doing? Am I doing something wrong? You know, people hate me. No, I'm telling the truth about humanity, and everybody needs to tell the truth. So I don't take on their energy, and I hope that's, you know, that ends up being the same for you too. Yeah.
Yeah. You're actually the same age as my mother, and do you have like a skincare routine? Because your skin, oh my gosh, goddess, daddy.
You're very kind, thank you. Let me tell you something. TikTok has a great camera, and also I have good lighting behind me. Your compliments are really appreciated. Okay. I really make sure. So I use a yellow light behind, right? So if you put the white light on, the white light is so harsh. It's so harsh. And also I dim it a little bit. So, and also my makeup is kind of cool as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, I appreciate the comment. So it's always really so funny to me that you just said that I'm the same age as your mother. I don't have children, and I feel younger now than I did in my 20s. It's honestly crazy. It's honestly like really crazy. And when I see people online talking about their ages, I know that there's a lot of men and women who are going through the same thing. And we're like, we don't feel this age. We don't look this age. And I see other people in their 20s and they look old. And I'm like, age is crazy. Age is just years, and time is just a concept. It's just a concept. It actually is not real. But this is Beth says, yes, she uses the tears of English white men. I actually do. I actually do. And something about me, Neon Blade, is I'm actually a dominatrix as well for a living. And I've been dominatrixing for 13, 14 years now. So I've dealt with a lot of English men, them being submissive, and actually men around the world. I've gone to the UAE and dominated there, in the USA, throughout Europe. And I've dealt with a lot of submissive men online and in person. And it is the most empowering thing as a woman when you can be in a space with men and they recognize your natural power. Because of course, you know, we grow up in the man, they say it's a man's world, right? They say it's a man's world. It's not a man's world. They forced it to be a man's world because they are very insecure as people, and they were very threatened by the existence of women and our natural connection to the earth, to each other. As I said, we're more feeling, we're more intuitive, we're more loving. And because men had not developed that feminine side of themselves, they thought that we were witches. And, you know, in history, they used to burn us. And, well, in the Western world, let's say, because in Africa and in Asia, we weren't doing that shit. The Westerners were very afraid of strong women, very afraid of strong women, and paganism and all the old religions. They were very afraid. So now this is the time for women to stand up and to laugh and to love and to know where their power lies. And something interesting, this weekend, I decided I've been on X. Okay. So I've been on X a lot longer than I've been on TikTok. I had my X account since 2012, but since Elon Musk took over, I didn't go on there, right? I hadn't been on there, but I went on this weekend. I'm laughing already because X is where basically humanity goes to die.
Yeah,
And
literally.
you know that. And you know it's a lot of angry white people on that app. That
Yeah.
X is angry white people. They are
Far
just
right.
waiting. Yeah, far right. They're waiting to fight you over anything. You have a simple conversation with somebody and it's immediate insults. Immediate insults. Like you come in there, you make a comment or you make a correction. Oh, you dumb bitch. Oh, you did it. It's like absolute babies. And this weekend, I was laughing my head off when I went on there because I can't remember what the topics were that I was getting involved in. And it was just absolutely hilarious. And I just kept laughing at every single reply. I was laughing directly at them. I said, this platform is just so funny. And I was laughing. And of course, the more I was laughing at them, the more angry they were getting, but the more stupid they looked and the more I was laughing. So yeah, forever me. I know that's why you avoid that app, but honestly, from time to time, if your energy feels up to it, please go back there because it makes you also realize that you're on the right path. If you're not being insulting to other people, if you're not, really so quick to react to things, you're on the right path. So honestly, yes, anti-racist one, want to be victims, most definitely. So what platforms do you think are you on, Neon Blade?
I don't TikTok, Instagram, but I barely go on Instagram, and then Snapchat. I use it to text my mates. But yeah, those are the platforms I'm on. But I never use Twitter ever, but I hear things about it.
Like it is very bad. Also with Facebook, because of course Facebook is like the older generation, it's like our grandparents, our parents' era. So my parents are on Facebook and I'm just like, oh my God, some of the stuff that you tell me that's on there. And I have a dummy account because I moved country. And so I need to obviously make connections with the country that I moved to. And when I go on there and I go on the British groups, all the arrogancy, all of them saying, we're expats. And I remind them, of course, that they're immigrants and they hate that shit. But I love it. I love it. I love baiting them into arguments because it's so easy. It's so easy. It is so easy.
They're
Even
so
there's a
angry.
guy. They're so angry. They're angry over everything. There's a British guy, right? That lives in English guy. And we used to talk sometimes, I have dogs, he has dogs, we would walk our dogs, we would meet each other and have conversations. This guy, of course, he would talk about black people, he'd talk about Pakistani people, talk about everybody, all right? As soon as I start talking about British people, what's his reaction? The man starts freaking out. And I'm like, excuse me, I've listened to you talk about so many different races and groups of people. As soon as I talk about British, you freak out. And I even pulled him up on it because he walks past my house sometimes. And I said, excuse me, come here, talk. And I made him talk to me. This man's energy, again, he was like twitchy. I could feel his energy. You asked me if I felt energy. I felt it very much from him. He was so uncomfortable, but he was like trying to force himself to have this conversation of like, I'm a man. I can have a conversation with this woman. I could do it. I could see him like G'ing himself up. Like I could do it. This man was so fucking clueless. Let me tell you something. He was a builder back in the UK, right? Is a builder, and you guys may or may not. Thank you. I bought this hat today. It's great, isn't it? I love this hat. He said, oh, the Polish men are coming in and taking jobs from the white people. He said that. I said, you're both white. What the fuck?
He's jealous of their success. He's jealous of the hard work that immigrants contribute to the country. Because a lot of these British people, not all of them, but a lot of them, they don't want to work. My neighbor, he just hasn't. He's like the same age as you. He doesn't want to work. It's crazy.
It's unfortunately, it is the English entitlement. because they grew up thinking that everything was going to be handed to them. And they were also put into positions of power by just knowing people. You know, they didn't have to have great qualifications. And they also had the white privilege because they were more likely to get hired because they were white, right? It was somebody who looked like them who was doing the hiring. But nowadays, it's not the case anymore. And they try to say things like, oh, it's DEI, it's diversity, equity, inclusion. No, nobody is going to, in their right mind, hire a black or brown person if they're not qualified, because these companies want to make money. They want to make money. They don't want to just do it to tick boxes. If you're more qualified as a white person, they're going to hire you. Nowadays, all it's saying is that you need to actually get out of your biased thinking and your biased view and actually see that black and brown people are overly qualified in most of these positions. We're overly qualified. You know, we have to work so hard to get half as much, not even half as much. So there's a lot of shit going on. Mina, good to see you. Hope you enjoy your dinner. Kruger Anderson asked me if I've astral traveled. Yes, I have many times astral traveled. I've been able to do it consciously. And also it happens more in my sleep though, I have to say. The places that I've gone in my sleep. So do you know what astral travel is? And I'm also going to bring in Izzy as well in the conversation. Good to see you, Izzy. Thank you for coming up on the panel. Do any of you guys know anything about astral travel?
Yeah, I know what that is. It's when your conscious or spirit leaves your body and then you can like travel. It feels weird, I've heard, and you can go anywhere in the world. That's really cool. However, I'm not really interested, but I would talk to people who do it because it sounds like a good plot for a book.
Yeah, yes, it definitely is. I've also even soul swapped as well before. So I mentioned earlier that I'm a twin flame. I've managed to swap souls with my twin. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie or the TV series Behind Her Eyes. Yeah, I've done that. I've done that. And it's really terrified me, I literally had him seeing through my eyes, and I've also had people speak different voices as well through my voice. I've recorded everything. I've recorded everything in voice notes, in my diary. I haven't done it in a long time though, in probably over a year. I've not done things, but things like astral travel. Izzy, have you done any astral traveling? Do you know what that is?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you, yes.
I'm not quite sure I know about the astral thing. All I know is I'm quite spiritual in many ways. Yeah, I know, but I can't define what astral travel is, to be honest.
Yeah, Neon Blade really summed it up perfectly. It literally is when your energy, your soul, your spirit, your consciousness, however you want to identify, go somewhere else. So I think a lot of people don't actually understand energy, first and foremost. The way that I simplify it is, you can tell, right, if somebody is standing behind you. They don't have to be touching you, they don't have to be near you, but you can feel somebody behind you, right? Because your energetic field is far larger than just your physical body, right? And also when your intuition is very heightened, you can tell somebody is behind a closed door. Right? You can be like, if I open that door, I know there's going to be someone behind it. That again is your energetic field. It is your intuition that manages to pick up these things. That's kind of where I start a lot of the conversations when it's people that don't quite know or don't quite understand or don't quite believe in a lot of these things, you know, because a lot of men generally, you know, they come from more of a scientific aspect. You know, they more understand the sciences and they talk more about atoms and neutrons and neurons and things like that. And then, of course, there is the other part of religion as well. So people bring in religion to make sense of a lot of things that happen on this planet. But what's your kind of like ideas on spirituality, Izzy, and your experiences? What would you like to share on that? Oh, you've definitely traveled by the way of astral as well. Yeah, tell us more.
Definitely. You know, the way I've understood it now, that's definitely clear that I'm all over the place. When I close my eyes, so basically I just listen to some sort of music these days, because this is the first time in my life I have managed to stay 2 years without no one entering my space. Basically, I've got a place I call like this kind of hideout I've acquired not long ago, but this has revealed myself to me. because it came on the back of a broken relationship that was maybe over-consuming. And the only person who was holding it was a very old Caribbean man who was so soulful. And we had 2 days away. We were almost twins. And my ex-wife used to say we have a bromance. But the man was so full of life and spirit. And then afterwards, I just lived. But now I find myself in a place alone. And I'm seeing my mom every bloody fucking night. When I say that, I really apologize, but I'm saying it out of frustration. I don't understand why now. And I keep crying all the time for letting my mom down. Because in her tradition...
Is your mother alive, or she crossed over?
No, she passed. I was so busy doing life. I couldn't even care. You know what I mean? I was doing French life when I was young, very young. I think I told you one time... what's the name again? Fox. I told you one time, Fox, I was forced to go into grammar boarding school, French grammar boarding school, away from parents. I think I said that once, yeah?
I think, now it's coming back to me a little bit. Keep talking and it will come back to me. Go
So
ahead.
basically, my mom is telling me that I've got a job to do because in her religious belief, she's a nomadic people living in the desert of northern Africa, where I wasn't allowed to go when I was young, under Morocco. It's called Mauritania. That's where the Moors apparently come from. So she was so spiritual. But then she's coming back to me all the time. She could even ask me to call one of my brothers or sisters I haven't heard of for a long time. But this is the person who, she named me Jesus in her religion. My mom is Muslim. In her belief system, these names mean a lot. But my mom used to overprotect me so much. And then she used to tell me, you're so pure, you don't have the right to harm even anything around you. Even if a mosquito bites you, you got to be careful and see if it's worth fighting back or not, because you're meant to give love, you're meant to bring peace, and you're meant to color the world with goodness. If you can't do nothing about what's coming to you, move away. Stay away from negativity. But I just don't know why the spirituality has become so deep. These
There's
days,
things
I
that
see
you need
things.
there's things that you need to learn. So my dad is 77 now, I think it is, and his mother passed away in 2009. The funny thing is both my grandmothers passed away in the same year, only about 3 months apart from each other, and they'd never met each other. But since my spiritual awakening, my dad was very religious, okay? So he had teachings of Islam and Christianity. He's Nigerian. So, of course, there's both religions, right, in Nigeria. And since my spiritual awakening, I've been talking more to my father about spirituality, whereas he was very much religious. But now my dad has said the same thing too as well, Izzy. He's like, I'm seeing my mother now. There's a photo even in my mum and dad's living room where he looks at the photo of his mother. He goes, she's smiling in that photo now. She was not smiling in that before. Like he will literally see her face come alive in photos. He's dreaming about her. He's hearing about from her. Even my uncle on my mother's side, when my nan passed away, it was the day after that he saw her in white, leaning, like sitting like this at the end of his bed, and he blinked and went like this. And my uncle, again, is in his 70s, so, and this is what happens. I think it's a lot of the matriarchal figures that are coming through more now, like so the mothers, the grandmothers, because they want to also awaken the loving side. Like you said your mother said that you were very loving and you were very innocent and you wouldn't hurt anybody. And that's to remind you that even in this very masculine, hurtful, harmful world, you can still tap into the energy that your mother instilled into you, which is to not hurt people. She's here to remind you of that.
Fox, you will laugh, Fox. My ex is a Caribbean that had 2 different children, different men. She used to tell me, if I really didn't know you, I would think you're gay. You're so zen.
Feminine.
And she said, yes.
But all it is,
it was funny.
all that is though, is that because you've got the balanced feminine energy, so it's the masculine energy, which is, and that's kind of it's quite insulting for her to say that to you, because all that means is that, of course, you are, of course, a very masculine man, but this is the problem with the patriarchy, is that people, it was mainly men who said this, is that if men have feminine energy, it makes them homosexual. When it doesn't, it makes them balanced. It actually makes you safe to be around. It makes women let their guard down. You know, it makes us to be able to trust you. If we're around masculine men, it's horrible. It is so toxic. They're too, like, I will tell you the traits of somebody who's got too much masculine energy, right? And again, this could be with women as well too, right? So it's anybody that has too much masculine energy is they have too much domination. They're aggressive, controlling. They have rigid mental constructs, anxiety. They force things, and they can be quite distant. Myself, I've worked as a female dominatrix for over 13 years, 14 years. Wow. And in the space that I work in, it is mainly women. And I'm dealing with a lot of women that have too much masculine energy, where they're trying to dominate me too. They're trying to dominate me too. And because I'm very secure as a person, I'm like, excuse me. Excuse me. What the hell? You know, so it's really important to balance out the masculine and the feminine energy. So it means that you're definitely on the right side.
The only thing I would love to add to Fox, because your line is growing up now. I've seen like there's a lot of people down there. I was just wanting to add, if you don't mind, the element of my father I never mentioned. I was closer to my dad than my mom, because I never saw my mom, but my dad was my everyday go-to. We were so close. And the problem is, he was of a different kind of ethnic group. He was from Mali, people called from Timbuktu. And I know their origin. He said their origin is Ghana, but they moved to Timbuktu after I don't know how many generations of empire broke down, Songhai Empire, I don't know. But my dad was real African. He didn't believe in God like my mom, but he had this African spirit of family is everything. He would kill to protect his family. He would do everything for his family. And then he was telling me he want to pass on to me that element of keeping the dynasty, or keeping, I don't know, whatever the spiritual thing together. So also I was one of the latest children. He was giving me always the task of overseeing others, because he said that they may be older than you in age, but you're so ahead of them in terms of spirituality. You're going to have to overcome those cultural element and look after them, because they cannot look after themselves. And those elements, and my dad, I know he was a healer. I was never very involved in his element of Africanity, but I've seen him heal people. I've seen him heal people that were really victim of whatever bad thing, black magic they were calling it. But then I was just seeing it as like, well, it's nothing. But it's only now that I remember how much he must have given to me, but I don't know how to use those energies. So I'm kind of in a very split, complex situation where I'm feeling all of those key things coming back to me, and I don't know how to make good use of all of those elements. I'm sure they're somewhere in me, but I need maybe a little bit of coaching and whatever, so I could put a kind of order in all of those and enjoy life, with this.
I think where it starts is by having conversations. So when all these things started happening to me, I went onto Facebook pages to try and understand. I then ended up going to, because I'm a twin flame, so my energy is shared with someone else. I don't know if you were here when I was explaining that. So I was going to a lot of twin flame spaces, a lot of Kundalini awakening spaces to try and understand this energy. And then I created my own WhatsApp group, because basically it ended up being support, because all the stuff that started happening, where I was like, oh my God, what's happening? So from then, it was enabling me to understand a lot more about that. So that's what I just definitely suggest as a starting point, is to keep having more conversations, because naturally when you start to be awakened, the universe is already guiding you anyway. The universe is already telling you, okay, here are your skills. Now I'm going to try and give you some inspiration on where you need to start to nurture these things. And then eventually the path reveals on how you're going to use those skills, because I don't necessarily know how to use some of these extra skills that I've got, like the astral travel, and I've got claircognizance and clairvoyance. I've got all these things, like I can see spirits and I can read energy and those kind of things. And in the beginning, I was kind of a bit panicky, because I'm like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? And then I just started to trust, I started to trust that maybe I'm not meant to do anything with these things. Maybe it's just I have this gift now and I just appreciate it. So maybe it could be the same thing, but you just allow the path to unfold for you, and then it will, you'll get told whether these are skills that you're going to use and how you're going to use them and how you get to connect with other people that also have the same skills as well. So it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time.
Well, but thank you for bringing this kind of topic today. You know, I just bumped it. You know, it's your outfit that was kind of appealing first. I say, what's going on there now? Is a carnival going on? And then slowly I was feeling like, she's talking different. She's happier. And it's good that you brought an energy of more, you know what I mean? You're very earthy at the moment. You're bringing out energy that is so nice to
Thank
consume.
you. It's because I had installed TikTok for 2 days to reset. That's why. I uninstalled that.
Thank you for giving me a chance. And I'm kind of shy. I'll let just others, give the experience of what they're feeling and, how they're reacting to what you brought today. But thank you, everybody. I'm still around, okay?
Thank you, Izzy. Thank you for sharing your story and thank you for asking questions. And again, good luck, because I will do more spirituality chats. This has been about a year that I've wanted to do this kind of conversation. But again, the universe has said, Fox, now it's time for you to discuss more. Because again, I'm going to talk about these things from a perspective of knowledge rather than assumption. I can just talk about the things that I know and hope that the things that I talk about resonate. And so now it was the right time for me to discuss these things. So thank you, Izzy. Thank you so much. Thank you. Do stick around. Like I say, everybody, we're going to stick around. And now it's Kelsa. Kelsa, my darling. Hey, how's it going?
Good, thank you. I'm very happy that you held this live, to be honest. I'm really appreciating everything that you've been sharing as well, Fox. It's a definite big topic. And I'm so happy that we're in this year of awakening because, it's about time, isn't it?
It's about time. It's taken so freaking long, so long. And the messages that I receive from the universe about this is the kind of the overarching message that I've received is that we could not awaken everybody at the same time because that's not evolution. This planet is something that needed to evolve. So it was the men that needed to evolve. They needed to ground certain energies. They needed to be the builders, creators, blah, blah, blah. While the women, the feminine energy kind of laid dormant. But of course, there is too much. The balance is off. Like you said this earlier in the chat, Kelsa, the balance is off. So now it's the time for the divine feminine to awaken again, to awaken in their masculine and their feminine so they can bring back the balance of this planet. Above that, it's made me also very frustrated because the messages that I've been told is that we are basically, fleas on a dog's back. We're not that important in the grand scheme of things, but this is a communication planet for those energies outside of this universe, right? Outside of this planet. Our planet is just to keep the other infinite energies going because, of course, in our bodies, we have a very short lifespan. Like energy is infinite. But yet in our bodies, some of us can pass away in the womb. Some of us can pass away at 100 and something years old. Those are still very, very short years. But apparently, we're just keeping all of those other energies out there alive. So I'm just like, great, can you just get me off this fucking planet, please? Because I don't like it here. I don't like it. Yeah, so Kelsa, I want to know a little bit more about your experiences because I only see little bits and pieces now from your own page. And you've said a lot recently about the currency, about the financial crisis.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like I'm in this kind of point where I'm starting to know myself more. So in the last couple of years, I'd say that's when I've had my spiritual awakening. And it's been an interesting journey, to say the least. I think I went through a period of, really bad mental health, depression, questioning everything, feeling like I'm just by myself and no one gets me. And I always felt like I had that feeling of never belonging in this world as well. Like I just knew it was like a simulation, when you just know you don't belong, but people make you feel like you're going crazy sometimes. Yeah,
the gaslighting is real when it comes to that.
Exactly. So it's been a lot, to be honest, and it still is because I think it's a consistent journey. Like it's always that self-reflection and channeling your energy for better and for greater. But you know, it's I don't know, I feel like I've been enjoying where I'm at, and I think the thing with spirituality is it completely destroys all of these social constructs that we have, you know, because sometimes people think they might be spiritually in tune and they might base it on even the finance, but it's not that. You can be so spiritually strong and have everything and have nothing at the same time, and your energy will be very strong. So I feel like
But that's where the ego comes in, right? It's like if people don't have the control over the ego, that's when they completely go wrong. Hi, Ems, good to see you. Yeah, that's like the biggest thing. And also when you have a spiritual awakening, like somebody said something to me once, and it really, what do they call it? What did they say to me? It was quite insulting, right? Because when I spiritually awakened, I had a lot of freaking information being fed to me very fast. Very fast. And they called it, I can't remember the term. I don't know if you know the term, Kelza. It's basically when spiritual people do have, what is it? No, it's not quite psychosis. It's just like when there's too much. It's like when people have like too much ego in the spirituality. It's like they think that you're being arrogant with it. There's a phrase.
Oh, is it spiritual bypassing or whatever they call it?
No, I can't remember. Basically, they called me this, right? And I thought that's so rude. But the interesting thing is that person was an energy vampire, and like the person who was here before, Neon Blade, was talking about reading energy. At that time, I was too empathetic and too trying to be understanding as a person, so I didn't have really good boundaries. This was only about 2 years ago. So when this person said this thing to me that I had some spiritual ego something or whatever it is that they called, this is my dog whining again. Come here, darling, come. She's tried to say all this stuff about me, but in my lack of boundary, I was trying to talk to her, make her try to understand me, try to understand the things that she was saying, blah, blah, blah. And it went on all day, until eventually I woke up and been like, why the hell am I fighting so hard? Why am I wasting my time with this person? You know, why am I doing that? Because I know myself. It's not up to me to convince other people who I am, because I know myself. So that was a massive lesson for me. And I think that's what I definitely understood as part of the spiritual awakening. Again, like we talked about boundaries earlier, right? And just how important they are. And I think what's really interesting about the spiritual awakening is that a lot of us, I think we think we know ourselves right before the spiritual awakening. But then when you have the spiritual awakening, all of this other shit comes out and you're just like, damn, I didn't think I would deal with something in that way. I thought I would deal with it in a different way. So you still end up learning new lessons, right? You end up learning new lessons.
Absolutely. And I think one of those things with like spiritual awakening is, I think the best part of it is the highest vibration is love. Yeah. Nothing beats love. So when you're at peace and one with yourself, you're at one with everything, but it still allows you to still combat things that are coming at you that are not from love, because you know what you have is love. And that is one of the highest vibrations. And one thing I want to say as well, like even with the UK, I think the reason why people in the UK a lot of the time don't know themselves is because they're literally being loosed upon. So there's like other entities called like archonic energies, and they basically prey on like lower vibrations, and it's all on like cloud seeding, like just how the UK is. It goes way back, but it's just understanding the construct that we're in and then realizing actually this isn't it, and there's a lot more to this world that then meets the eye. But yeah, it's, I don't know, I feel refreshed.
Problem, though, isn't it? That's the biggest problem about the UK, is that there is so much unknown, too much unknown, actually, in fact, too much unknown, where people are so far removed from humanity, so far removed from themselves, so far removed from spirituality. Now there is this fake religious belief coming back. Because we're so afraid of Islam that now all of a sudden we're Christians again, and like they've never been in touch with religion or spirituality. And the UK is so lost, man. But it's supposed to be that way. I said this in the beginning. You know, I said this on my platform. Is the UK, unfortunately, you know, Scottish, Irish, Welsh people. Mainly, it's about English. This is why I for the English people are not compatible with humanity. That's why British people, it's up to you to separate yourself from the Anglo-Saxon descendants, separate yourself from their absolutely barbaric, disgusting history, and make sure that you are keeping this vibration of love, which is what Kelsa has said. You know, it's really important for us. And this is why I will always say to my black and brown brothers and sisters, stop fighting to be English. Stop fighting to be English. It's the wrong thing. Yeah, be British. Be British. You know, that's our nationality, but don't be English. Like, you don't understand the history of English, because what English people are doing are energy harvesting and trying to make us also responsible for the atrocities of what English people did throughout the world. Like, they're saying that we have the same history. We weren't bloody there. We weren't bloody there. You know, we can't. Like, Izzy, you've unmuted. Do you want to add something? And I'm also going to let my dog out, but I can hear you. Izzy.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to say that I've got now a partner, a friend that is older than me, a lady in Belgium, where I go every month. And then by being closer to that woman every time, because I needed to come out of this moody country and just feel the world, because I speak French. That is my first language, if I did forget to say. So I was going back to those elements of energy the French way. I was going to Belgium, and that woman that wasn't well had a dog. But oh my God, that's a Tibetan Terrier. Funny enough, that dog just got into me so much that it wouldn't even now respond to the owner, the woman, the way she wants. And the dog goes to school twice a week. But if I'm not present, the dog wouldn't comply with the whole thing. And it's become so consuming, and I'm getting scared how this dog has found me and made me the center of the world that I've never been. From anywhere, anybody, and I just get myself so shocked at how animals...
That's good energy. That's it. The animal energy. Were you here when I was talking about the animal energy before? Were you here when I was talking about that?
Yeah, that's when I logged in.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So this is Beth knows this.
No,
yeah,
you know stuff, you know stuff, bro. You know stuff. And honestly, I'll just say I'm working on myself to put an order into this puzzle. But trust me, as we speak, unfortunately, my neighbor, but anyway, I'll leave that for the next time. Yeah, my daughter that I haven't seen for a long time. She lives in the north of England, in Newcastle. She's worried a bit about me. She hasn't seen me since last year. She's coming to see me in 4 days. I used to rent a place for her because she's 22. She's a big girl. She's British. You know what I mean? So when I say British, means she's grown in a very independent way. So we don't get to be together in the same place. But this time she told me, Dad, don't worry. I'll stay on your sofa in the dining room so I can look after you better. I say, wow, this girl is growing. She's looking into me now. Okay. She's going to look after me. That's okay. So she's staying for 4 days.
I like Newcastle. This is Beth. You're from Newcastle. I love that. Like Newcastle,
No way, seriously.
those areas. Like, even though I've only been to Newcastle once, I had like the best time in Newcastle. I could pick up really good energy in Newcastle. Like the people were funny. I felt, because in South, right, when people are drunk, it is mainly because they're depressed. They're depressed, right? And it's like it's a fake joy. Whereas when I went to Newcastle, I genuinely felt that people were happy as well as like having a bit of drink. Yeah. So she's picked a real good place. But I'm going to bring in Fountain of Paradise into the conversation. Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm wonderful. So obviously this is have you been here before? I don't know if I know you. Do I know
No, I
you?
haven't. But my good sis Kelsa sent me this live because she knows I love a bit of spirituality. So
Love it.
for her as well.
Welcome. Thank you so much. And yeah, Kelsa, I don't even remember how Kelsa and I think I saw something. Kelsa and I can't remember how we first started talking, but I think I saw her page first and then she came to my page and we were both like, this is a connection. Like we need to contact. So I think this is a really good thing about TikTok, right? It's like if we have somebody that we really know or we're following them on a particular topic, then of course we can learn a bit more. So welcome to this space, Fountain of Paradise. Yeah. So what would you like to add to the conversation.
I kind of wanted to touch on what Kelza was talking about. I just want to talk a bit about spirituality. Like, I agree so much with the whole UK thing, because the thing is, you can't hide from spirit. And in our day-to-day lives, when we tell like spirit, like we want to quantum leap into a new timeline that's got more love, more this, we have to now face our shadow, and we have to face all the karma that we've accumulated on that timeline. And every time we refuse to face that karma and choose a different timeline, we just have to relive that cycle. And I think that's where Britain is in this moment, where Britain's like, we want to ascend to this timeline where people aren't choosing between heating and eating, where there's love, and we don't have to think about capitalism every day. And then every time spirit's like, cool, so I'm going to bring your shadow towards you every single time, and you're going to either face your shadow or you're going to repeat the cycle. And we've just been repeating this cycle over and over again, because it's easy to say, oh, colonialism's done, oh, slavery's done, oh, all of this stuff is done. But if you're still upholding these systems in 2026, hey Zay, if you're still upholding these systems in 2026 and gaslighting people into thinking they've gone away, you can gaslight the people, but you can't gaslight spirit. Spirit is always going to show you that. And what are you going to do? Create a flipping train line called Windrush? Do you think that does anything to the damage that's been done? So I guess it's not just Britain, it's the whole world, because as we know, we're ascending to the 5D. Every single country has to face its own collective karma. We're seeing it right now with Iran. We're seeing it right now with America. Even like I'm Sudanese with Sudan. Sudanese people, they've had the same ruler for 30 years. They got rid of him, and they were like, cool, now we want to eat, we want to drink. And God was like, okay, cool. So now I'm going to show you your tribalism, your colorism, your futurism, your self-hatred, and either you're going to choose a new path or you're going to continue down this road. And that's why there's so many wars going on, because in order to ascend, we have to destroy the old world, and everyone's being shown the parts that they hate the most about themselves. And again, that's why there are so many awakenings going on, because so many people incarnated in this lifetime to assist with that ascension, to create a mirror and show the this planet what we've kind of been running away from for so long. And yeah, I think that's why there's a lot of sorry, what? Oh, one sec, guys.
I'm going to cheer and clap for you in the meantime. You are speaking on the next level of stuff, the next level of things.
And I was as of recently, since I would say 2020, so many people have had Kundalini activation. So many people have had past life regressions or spontaneous, third eye openings. And now it's like this slowly coming into their purpose, realizing that they have gifts, realizing that they came to anchor in the 5D. And I think that's why, even though it's a beautiful thing that people are waking up, it's also a little bit dangerous, because the powers at be that have been enslaving humanity forever, they're not going to give up without a fight. So, and I realized social media is one of the biggest ways that they kind of hold people. And you spoke earlier about the twin flame thing. I actually think a majority of people on the internet who say they're in twin flame journeys, they've actually just been taught to externalize their own internal self-love. So many of the comment sections of these twin flame journeys is this person's in a marriage. Oh, they're 28. That's probably not your twin flame.
Horrible.
You need to go and
they've got it wrong. They've got it absolutely wrong. And I think this is what's really frustrating about being a twin, is that, of course, it has that reputation, right? It has that terrible reputation. But when you're, I'm an old soul, man. Really, the past lives that I've seen, the journey that I've been on, I've been around here a very long time. And I think, and part of this kind of spiritual ego that somebody thought I had is that they thought that I knew everything, but I do fucking know a lot. I do know everything. And that's what happens when you're an old soul, right? You've literally born with the blueprint to know all of those things, that exactly what you were just saying, Fountain of Paradise, about the 5D, about the political state of the world, about the egos, about these terrible leaders, about the cycles that repeat themselves, about how we're ascending to 5D. Yeah, the spiritual messages that I received is that the old ways are dying. Like you said, the old ways are dying, and a new generation and a new human is being born, because of course that old way has not been working. It's been absolutely diabolical. And yeah, I was the same. This is Beth. Yeah, I was told I was mature for my age as a child. Now I know why. I'm an old soul. So again, like we are waking up to know the blueprint that we've always been born with. And I think it's really interesting, isn't it? Once you start to reflect upon your life and you're just like, I can't believe I had all of this information inside me. And it just took like a switch of a press of a button or something, a flick of a switch that you can just talk like, oh my God, 5D and 4D and spiritual awakening and energy and Kundalini and blah, blah, blah. You know, all of the stuff that we'd never even heard of before this switch. But yeah, it is. It's all about keeping this vibration high and really kind of understanding about the brevity of life, that this life is not just this body. And I think what's been really hard, many things that has been very hard, is the political state of things. Like, of course, you mentioned there, seeing the scale of unalivement in this lifetime in the last few years has been very difficult to deal with. But the messages that I've received, I don't know if you guys have also received the same messages. So things like Congo, Sudan, Palestine, the message that I received was that this is a necessary sacrifice that people have made in order to go to the next level. Yeah. And it's awakening empathy in people. Unfortunately, because people have been so desensitized, is that they've had to have this massive scale of atrocity to make people love more, because we have not been able to love in the level that we're supposed to love. You had the same message, Fountain of Paradise. Great. That makes me feel better, because I spent a lot of time crying, you know, of course, crying over all this shit. And I'm just like, why? And again, also the message that came through that is that they're going to have some of the greatest rewards, because their sacrifice has been so great. Of course, seeing that amount of pain and struggle that they have to go through, the rewards that they are due is unfathomable. You had the same message. Great. I'm really glad to hear that. Did you get the messages as well about the United States is going to fall? I got that one 2 years ago. I also got Japan was going to fall too.
Do you know what's really crazy? I got the same one about the USA. And also have a look at all the movies that are going to be released in America next year. They're all foreshadowing the decline of America. One of them, literally The Purge, which is like the final purge. And it's about how there's going to be civil war in America and how America's never going to be able to recover from all the purges. There's so many, but that's the one that kind of really stood out to me.
Yes. Did you get any messages about natural disasters as well? Because I got tsunamis in America.
Yeah, I got tsunamis. I got volcanoes as well. And I also got basically no water. People fighting over water as well.
Yes. I got a message about that already being in like Egypt or somewhere. I think it was Egypt. I wrote everything in my diary. It was petrol shortage and water, I think, over there. Or something like that, I think. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of places that are going to be affected, ones that you had not even really thought about in the mainstream media, that you're like, oh, we never really hear about that place. And all of a sudden, there's more news coming out of those particular places. Yes.
Yeah, that's true. That's kind of what I felt with the whole Nepal thing. When Nepal took over their government, I was like, wait, you guys had corruption? I didn't even know that they had corruption in Nepal.
Yes, exactly. So, because of course we know that the spotlight has been very much on these bloody egomaniac countries of Western Europe, of course, UK, USA, Italy, Portugal, Spain, Germany, France. All of those countries have literally taken the spotlight, but now a case it is, of course, Asia, the Asian countries, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, through to China. Of course, the unification of Africa, we've been really so harmed by the scramble of Africa, getting us to be so far energetically away from ourselves, and knowing that there are some leaders that are coming through again now to rebuild what was broken. Our hundreds of thousands of years of history was destroyed by these bloody evil Europeans, So now it is coming out from that. And also, of course, it's down to us in the diaspora to be part of that awakening as well. We've been placed in places like Europe, so we can again remember and go back and connect with our ancestors. It's been very important for us as Black and brown people to be around the world, so we can constantly keep spreading that love around, because wherever the Europeans are, And we needed to be in those places as well. You had that same message as well. Planet of Paradise, we're on the same. I love this. I love this.
One of the messages that I got around lots of people in the diaspora is that, you know, when people say like reparations are never going to come. The reparations is that people are here to reclaim the knowledge, to be able to live in peace, relative peace and prosperity, so that they can read about their ancestors and what they actually went through. Do you know what I mean? So that they can fuel their body with the energy required to channel that against the system. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's exactly the same. I'm a financial dominatrix, so my reparations has already come from white men paying me. I literally
I was unaware of your game, queen.
yeah. So I literally became a millionaire off of the back of stupid white men. So I already got my reparations, but also a part of it was literally awakening my blackness and awakening my feminine, my black feminine energy. And how, of course, growing up in the UK, they make you feel like you're a piece of shit in the UK when you're a black woman. The constant gaslighting, the manipulation, the jealousy, the fact that you kind of feel that you're ugly when we're the most beautiful beings on this planet. My God, we are so freaking beautiful, you know? And it's really frustrating growing up in the UK, having that kind of insecurity placed on you when you're just like, when you eventually wake up, like, what the fuck? Like, why did I feel that way? Why did I feel that way? Because again, it was like growing up around white insecurity, right? It was growing up around the insecurity. So that's why it's really important that every black and brown person just works so much on their confidence level, spends time around other people that have the same belief as you, the same energy as you. Kelsa and I, we've obviously had a similar experience where we've been around negative spaces recently, where I mentioned this earlier about men's negative spaces, about how they're just not doing what they need to do for humanity. They're still stuck in their ego. They're just on such a low vibration level of trying to one up another man, so it makes them feel more powerful, makes them feel more alpha. But it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't do anything. It's so ridiculous, really ridiculous. So, you know, this is why I have this space, so we can come here with our smarts.
Can I be honest with you? This is why, like, the divine feminine return is going to be it's going to shake a lot of tables, because I feel like, because it's been going on for so long, and because like women and feminine beings have exhausted every other avenue, it's just going to have to come in strong. And it's times like this where I look at mythologies of like Kalima or Lilith or all of these that are pretty much on violence and not really coming in without the... Obviously, we have to have the duality of all of them, but I feel like a lot of the, because we see a lot of red pill stuff and a lot of like trad wife stuff, I feel like this is because people can feel that we're shifting into a different world in terms of, you know, gender relationships, and because they're afraid of jumping into the abyss and doing something we've never done before, which is like divine unions, where we're all fully in our yin and fully in our yang, people are just going back and clinging on to the past because it feels safe. It feels safer than trying something we've never tried before and possibly failing.
Divine unions, that for me is again like the why I was awakened. As I said, I was a twin flame, and the things that I was shown about my divine union, and I mentioned this earlier, is I literally had 70 dreams, over 70 dreams of the same person. It was a friend of mine from 15 years ago. And even now, in my mind, sometimes it comes in to be like, because I really believed it, right? I really believed that that's my person. I was supposed to be with that person. I believe it. The universe was making me do and say certain things you a twin flame as well, Nicole. Your awakening came after twin flame. Yeah. And it was making me do and say and go places that I never, in my awakened mind, would I ever do. And then as time went on, and it's been 2 years now, almost, this November will be the 3rd year, you know, the doubts start to come in and be like, well, maybe it's not going to happen, and this. But I still believe in some way it's going to happen, just not in the way that I expected, And what I have to tell myself, and if there are other twins here, Nicole, you said you're a twin flame, is of course we have to do a lot of work to understand that just as we've grown, our divine counterpart is also growing. You can't have one without the other. You can't have one without the other. JJ says, I wake up like why I came back. What, came back to the earth? Yeah. So I think everybody who's awakened, we're like, why the hell are we here? Like, we don't want to do it. Why are we doing it again? But it is a massive task. It's a huge task, an absolutely huge task. And again, there will be rewards, because this is what you have to tell yourself, right? It's like we have to tell ourselves, and we have to believe that there are rewards. There has to be a reason as to why we've been shown this story, why we're living these lives. Like, there just has to. And Fountain, you mentioned God, right? You mentioned the God word. The God word is, I was atheist for over 40 years, and I didn't believe in God. As I said, I didn't believe in afterlives or past lives or nothing. I thought that was it. We were done for many years. And then I had experience where I saw God. And I cried so hard. I cried so hard. I was terrified. Before then, I saw this massive, like, it was actually the month that I was awakened. So this is November 2023. I saw this huge black shadow on my ceiling of my room. And at this time, my spirit guides had made themselves known, right? And I was in my bed. I was actually at a spiritual retreat, because I was like, help me. I don't know what's happening to me. I need help. I need to go somewhere. Like, I don't know. So I thought, let me just go to do some yoga and shit like that, right? So I went to this spiritual retreat, which is not that far from where I live now. And I was in my room and I saw this black shadow. I'm like, oh my God, I'm fucking terrified. I've got my blanket, you know, I'm just up like this. And I say to my spirit guys, is this energy safe? And they say yes. They say yes. At that time, they told me this energy was equivalent to like Jesus energy, Buddha, whatever spiritual person you kind of resonate with. That's what energy they told me it was at the time. And again, like we're saying, when it comes to spirituality and understanding certain things like empathy, there needs to be a massive shock to the system to get you to fully understand and to fully awaken. That was first experience. The next experience that I had with seeing God was, it really took my breath away. It really fucking took my breath away. And the experience I was having, I was refusing, because I said I'm atheist and I didn't believe, and I turned away religion. I took everything away. I said, no. And the experience that I had, and I'll tell you how I managed to do it. Actually, one of my friends, she gave me some shroom chocolate. I don't know if I can say this on here. She gave me some, it's like mushrooms with chocolate. So I think I can say that. She gave me that. And so I'm not traveling. No, I'm just communicating right now. Is Fox traveling as we speak? No. So this experience was, I tried this piece. I actually tried it with her in Paris. We met each other in Paris. Yes, it does. It changed a lot. Oh my God. So we did a bit in Paris, but we were in public. So I had quite a control over it, right? I didn't want to go too far. So I just saw some things moving, blah, blah, blah. She gave me some to take back to where I live now. And I took a little piece of it. The trip that I went on was so beautiful, but then of course it got very spiritual. And I went out of the trip, came down to my kitchen here, made some food. The trip was calling me back saying, Fox, there's more you need to see. There's more you need to see. I got in my bed. I could see all these hands coming towards me, calling me back to the trip saying, you've got more to see, more to see. I closed my eyes and I could literally see the sky, and I could see, you know how they say it's the stairs that goes up to the sky and there's a hole in the sky. I freaking saw that. I freaking saw it. And interestingly enough, I already saw that a few months before I was traveling, and in the sky there was a massive hole that looked like hands, like a heart, like this, like a hole in the sky. I can't get it on my phone because I'm actually recording right now on this phone, but otherwise I would show the picture. It literally looked like this. And in this trip, it was saying, come up, you have to go up. And I was like, no. They said, it's time to go up. So I went up and I saw a sun like this. And they were saying, look at the sun, just look at the sun, look at the sun. And I was like, no, I don't want to do it. Started crying. And so I couldn't do it. So I went back down. They were calling me up again. Go up, go through the sky. Just look at the sun, look at the sun. I looked at the sun. It turned into an absolutely massive sun that was kind of on my shoulder here, huge, with white hair just flowing out of the back. And then I heard this massive booming voice. And I can't remember what they say because I've written everything down, but it was a huge freaking voice. And that was the voice of God. And of course, that's when I started crying my eyes out. And when I tell you I was atheist, I've told people this story before. I was so atheist that when I was given the Bible at 12 at school, I stood on this Bible and stuck 2 fingers up to the sky and said, swear on the Bible. Yeah, I'll fucking swear on the Bible. My parents used to try and make me to go to church. I refuse. My energetic blueprint literally told me that yes, there is a God, but it's not a religious God. It's not a religious God. It's the spiritual God. It's the creator of all. And when I heard this voice from God, it said, I've been with you this whole time. And that's what it is. It's like God is with you all the time, but you have freedom. And this is where free will comes in, right? And this is where people get very misunderstood about this free will shit. The people the problem with religion, again, is it's man-made and they manipulate what God is. In my experience, as I said, God is a spectator. God is the creator of all, but you literally have your own spirit team. You have your own guides. Then you have to, of course, deal with the negative energies and negative vibrations that happen around. People have too much expectation on what God is and what God is supposed to do. That's the problem. Kelsey, you say, I also think God is both divine, feminine, masculine energy and the true minor. Exactly. Me too. That's exactly what my experiences was. And that's what I think and feel. And I've only heard the voice again from God one time, but generally it's mainly my spirit guides. Those are the people or the energies. And of course, my ancestors as well. I hear from my nan a lot, my nan on my mother's side. She will come through and say certain things sometimes. And also I mentioned my dog, my first dog. He will come through sometimes, but the experience with God, as I say, it was incredibly transformative for me and took my spiritual awakening to the next level. It took it to the next level. So yeah, depiction of God in physical way. No, it's like, as I said, I saw a massive sun and I felt this huge energy and just white hair, like flowing white hair coming out of the back of it. It didn't have masculine or feminine energy. It was just a very huge, big, booming voice that I heard. And as I said, they just said they were around me the whole time. But interestingly enough, they said, I had a dream the night before about gaining spiritual wings. I don't know if you guys know anything about chakras and the energies that are in your body. Chakra 8 and 9 are in your shoulders, which are your spiritual wings. I had a dream like 2 nights before that I was given my spiritual wings, and then this situation happened. But then what happened in this trip was that God was like, yeah, I'm just watching. But it was actually my twin flame that was holding like a string, like I was a kite. Right. And he said, I've also been with you this whole time and I am connected to you, but I also allow you to be free. And he let me go. You know, my twin let me go. So I was flying like a kite and I was crying like, oh my God, what's happening? So similar thing happened to you as well, Fountain of Paradise. Yeah. I love it.
When I had my first few awakenings, yeah, I would always literally start, like I would feel like something's trying to come out of my shoulders, and I would always envision like angel wings coming out. And and even though obviously there's no wings coming out for real, I would just feel the energy of wings coming out. And then like, with the whole twin flame thing, yeah, I don't think I have an actual person twin flame. If I haven't met them. But every time I'm like ascending or I'm really spiritual, my twin flame will come to me in the energy of other people. So let's just say I meet someone, let's just say I meet like a guy or something, they would have the energy of my twin flame, even though they're not my twin flame, because they need to trigger me so that I can ascend. So it's like because you're always meeting reflections of yourself in other people. So yeah, that's how it's been for me. But also with the whole chakra thing, every single time like I would originally awaken, I would have like really negative emotions, because obviously the Kundalini was blocked from all the lifetimes of trauma. But now when I have Kundalini awakenings, I feel like I'm on a high. Like I have the time of my life, I get all the downloads, like I feel energized. But that's because I've kind of purged all the darkness out in the first couple Kundalini. Now it's kind of relaxing and fun to have.
It is, isn't it? It's like it feels like a reward, because sometimes I would think, oh, I haven't had a download in some time, or this and this, because my guides always said, well, Fox, you would always say you were too tired to receive the downloads, because I would get them at night if I was falling asleep. That's when I get the vibration, and I'd be like, I'm just too tired to receive. Can you just stop? And they would stop. But recently, I had a crazy one, like really crazy. I saw all these, so many symbols. I couldn't picture anything, but there was an onslaught of symbols, and I saw a clock. You said you had the same one.
Babe,
We are on the page.
you know my first ever Kundalini awakening that I had, yeah? Obviously, I gaslit myself for months. I was like, no, I'm just losing it. I'm tapped, I'm whatever. But I actually channeled symbols, yeah, that day. I channeled so many symbols. And the reason I knew that I wasn't losing my mind is because like literally 5-6 months later, I was scrolling through Insta and I saw a post that had all the symbols I channeled in one post, and I clicked on it. And that's when I discovered spirituality. Yeah, that's when I knew I was not like losing my mind.
Wow, that's crazy. I love that. I wish I really tried to see which symbols I could see in that one. I've seen the Merkaba, of course, the Merkaba. I've seen that in meditation. I drew it. This one is the financial something or other. Hold on. I can't remember what this one is called, but this one was crazy. It was literally like imprinted on can you see it? Yeah, I saw this one. Yeah, I saw that. That was imprinted in a meditation. It was behind my eyes. I could constantly see it. Yeah, Kelsa, please do come back up. The symbols are really interesting. Of course, you start to see the flower of life. If you guys know the flower of life, you get to see things and just how infinite everything is. But now we're going to bring in, this is Beth. Yay!
Hi.
Hello, lovely. How's it going?
It's going okay.
Good.
All right.
So I've been so excited. I was hoping that you would come up and talk to me about your spirituality and all the things that you've experienced, because of course you've got stuff on your page as well. So yes, please do indulge us with your experiences.
Well, for me, my spiritual awakening actually first started when I had my very first brain tumour when I was 14. And I was sometimes with spiritual awakenings, sometimes with trauma, it can happen. And obviously a brain tumour is trauma. And then it wasn't until about 6-7 years ago, obviously, that I started thinking more. If you can hear my dog, I do apologise. She's busy playing. And I'm now more into Norse paganism. So I do have deities. One of them is Loki and all his kin. And I came across who is now one of my very, very amazing friends called Curvy Black Witch. And I came across her page and we got talking, and she's like, yes, you're more spiritual. And obviously we're still in contact. So with my spirituality, I do a bit of tarot. I do it every Monday. So I'll be doing it tonight once the live's done. Mm-hmm. And I've got an altar and everything. And with regard to the twin flame, before my dog I've got now, my previous twin flame was my previous dog, who was the one that detected the brain tumour.
Wow.
And I believe that this little one that I've got now is a reincarnation of my previous dog. Because the day I went to see her, pay for her in a litter, we were going to get a male, but me being me, again, dogs, let the dog choose the owner. I held all these puppies, all of them stopped wriggling, but the one stopped whining, but the one stopped wriggling. Held her, she fell asleep. And I knew it was her that I wanted to take home. That night, when I came home and fell asleep, my previous dog, Rusty, appeared in my dream in his old bed. And next to him was Nova, as if to him saying, I carry on. And she's my world. I will be lost without her.
It's gonna make me cry. That's so freaking beautiful. When, like, you've obviously made a few comments in the chat when I've talked about dogs and that, and I know obviously you've got your dog, which you mentioned as well, and the things that they pick up and just how special they are as beings, and I know you would feel the same way, and all of us who have animal connections, is that when you see people hurting dogs and when you see people hurting animals in general, people have no idea what a blessing animals are, and how intuitive they are, how spiritual they are, how pure they are, how humans turn animals into nasty, horrible things, like especially dogs. You know, we see it a lot, especially in the UK, don't we? Like, people are talking about the XL bully and blah, 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 because they make them that way. Like, humans make dogs that way. They make them into horrible animals. Even where I live here, there's a guy who's my neighbor who has a Rottweiler, right? And he's like, oh, I'm training this dog up to be a guard dog. No, he ain't, because I'm around. So every time I go past this gate, I'm always like, yeah, doggy, doggy, doggy. I soften that dog up. I soften that. And any dog that I see that's barking behind the gate, I go up to that dog and I say hello. And of course, that dog starts being calmer. And if I've got a treat in my pocket, I will put that, because also I want other people around to see that I'm not afraid of dogs, because I know dogs. When you know dogs, as you do, Beth, it's like you can talk to them and you can communicate on a level once you go past that ego that human has. And again, it's very much of a masculine energy. So when you go into the feminine, that's when you understand things. But I love that your dog really helped with your health and helped you, know and understand what was going on with your body. Like I mentioned earlier, my first dog, my dog, his name was Charlie, and I've showed it many times, these pictures. And he was the one that awakened my family, actually, spiritually. This is my friend. She made this, she got this photo commissioned, this drawing commissioned of myself and my first dog. And I too also had a dream. The funny thing is I didn't have any dreams about him before I was awakened, but afterwards I ended up with a couple of dreams, and I had a dream of him and my current dog playing together. So that, again, I feel like I don't think he's a reincarnation, because I've seen shadows of my first dog. I've seen them on the floor. Even my mum says things as well. Sometimes she goes, I swear I can hear his feet on the floor, because he had a very particular foot pattern. He had his nails like, you could always hear him on the floor. So I had a dream about them two playing together. I've also had dreams when I first got this other dog that I have here. I think he's been with me for 2 years now. He had the angel number 711 on his forehead, and he had neon lights like all over his body. And at that time, I was looking a lot into understanding my energy. So I should have put on here star children as well. I'm a star child. I'm from the Pleiades. I'm a Pleiadian. I forgot to put that also on there. So when I was researching more about star families, I was looking, of course, into the reptilians and then Anunnaki and all those different families. And the neon ones, I can't remember where I found that from, but he's not from the Pleiades. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is really interesting though. But he's definitely, and when you said that your dog was kind of like I think was it Fountain said that the animals or people were other twin flames, he was definitely a soulmate. Definitely. And this dog is definitely a soulmate. I've had other dogs who were just, fine. They, but when you have that very special connection, right, with a particular dog, you can tell, right, it goes to a next level of understanding.
Yes.
Do you find that your dog communicates with you generally daily in a different way than your previous dog, or you think it's kind of similar? Or do they have any sort of particular tells where you're like, they're trying to tell me something?
Well, my previous dog was a male, and obviously Nova's a female, and she is different, but her marking on her ear, it was the same colouring as him. So to me at that time, it was as if, you gave her a little kiss. And it's still like that now.
That's so lovely. That is so lovely. Oh my God, I love that so much. I love that so much. Something really as well. So I had the 3 dogs with me, right? The 3 dogs. There's first my Charlie here. I think I had him since 2008. 2008, and he passed in 2020, pandemic year. And the whole time I had the three together. So he was the first, then Lily was second, Candy was third. They grew up as a little unit, all three of them. And that whole time I was thinking, right, okay, when they pass away, I want to scatter their ashes somewhere. So they're together. But as soon as I lost the last one, which was February last year, my goodness, it's been a year already. Jeez. Since I lost the last one, Lily, bless her, she was 18. She was very old. I heard her voice say, "Mummy, we want to stay with you." So honestly, this is years that I'd planned. Since 2020, 5 years, I had planned to scatter their ashes together. But not long after she passed away, she said, "Mummy, no, don't do it. Please, we want to stay with you." And so all three of their ashes, I've got a little table there. And actually, I do want to put a shelf where all their photos are here on this column I have in my house. I want to put their ashes. I'm not sure if I can. Let me search it. He had a very, very, very interesting past life. No, I can't. Let me try and remember it. He said something like, I was a air steward on a a Chinese airline stewardess. He was a bomber, I don't know if I can say that, suicide bomber in Japan. He was also made a martyr. He was also I'll mention this bit first actually. He was a dog for a painter in the Netherlands, in the mountains. I didn't even know there was mountains in the Netherlands. I had to look that up. He also was, made a martyr in somewhere. I can't remember, I can't remember, somewhere. And I didn't, again, know what a martyr was. So I looked that up because he was saying, I was a Christian, I was a Christian, I was a Christian, over and over again. I was a Christian, I was a Christian. Oh, in Switzerland. He was made a martyr in Switzerland. And I looked it up. And there were certain people around that time was it the 1800s? I can't remember the year off the top of my head. But there was a couple of very prominent people who were made martyrs because they actually wanted to believe in a different type of Christianity. But he was very adamant, right, that he was Christian, but his version, and as we know, there are lots of spin-off religions when it comes to Christianity, right? There's Catholicism, etc., blah, blah, blah. But he was made a martyr because he did not believe in the version of Christianity that they were teaching. So he was made a martyr. My dog! And I said, what the frick? What the frick? That's why my dog, and actually, interestingly enough, when I first got my dog, he was very angry. He was very angry as a dog. But with all these past lives, I was like, okay, this makes sense why he feels so angry. He's very upset about the last thing that happened to him, because it took him a long time to calm down as a dog. And one of the things I also heard him say after was, thank you for loving me so much. He's like, you're the best mummy I ever had.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what he said. So yeah, he was such a massive part of my life too. Do you want to tell us a bit more about your relationship with Loki? Because I don't really have any sort of gods or spirit. I'm kind of getting a little bit into Oshun because Nigeria, hello, Yoruba goddess. I'm getting a little bit into my connection with Oshun. But do you want to tell us about Loki and how Loki came about and what kind of things you learn from Loki?
well, I've always had this, again, with dreams of a man with long red hair and snake-like eyes. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago, as I was obviously again on this platform, I was like, yeah, it was Loki, because that's how he sometimes appears to people. And obviously I wasn't afraid. And the more I researched, it does tend to go more towards women who have had traumatic childhoods.
Oh, wow.
Because he's actually, believe it or not, he's actually quite a protector, which obviously in the mythology aspect, he was very protective of his children. And so he sees all these children who've had trauma as his children. So on a night time, I just light his candle, and sometimes obviously shadow work, which obviously is vital in spirituality, offloading what's on my mind, and sometimes we just sit and talk, and his flame will just flicker. And he comes through to me when I do my tarot. So obviously you've seen what some of the stuff I've put is actually him that's saying it, not me. It's like not a possession. It's like it's taking over my spirit, if you know what I mean, my mind, just my words. And with him, is when I play certain music, his flame will flicker as well as if he's dancing. And if I turn it off, it just stops. As if him saying, "No, I want to carry on listening to that. Thank you very much." It's actually he is very, very protective, and it's not just him, it's his children as well, which I always say Loki and his kin. Because for me, because it's not for all of those who are Norse pagans who have Loki as a deity, but for me, in order to have Loki as a deity and worship Loki, you've also got to include his children, because if you don't include his children, you're not including a part of Loki. So on his altar, I've got various things to do with his children, like I've got a crystal horse head, which is Slifnir. I've got things to do with hell, Fenrir. I've got a statue of Jormungandr, which I actually spotted straight away. And the guy who made it actually turned around and said I was the only one to get it right, because everybody thought it was the worm or the Leviathan, which obviously the worm is more to do with Celtic folklore. And he says I was the only one to get it correct. And since I got it correct, he gave us a discount off it. So that's on the altar as well.
Very good. That's brilliant. That's so brilliant. Does anybody here on the panel or in the chat have any sort of deities that they connect with, or any spirits or any particular prominent figures? Does anyone have anything else? As I say, I don't really, but Oshun is someone that I am purposely trying to read more about and connect with more purposely. Izzy, do you?
Yeah, but my problem is I'm trying to make sense of it because, I've been sent recently certain stuff to help me to make this place I'm living a bit more habitable, because, I live in a place where sometimes somebody pass away and you move in, but there's still a lot of movement of spirits going around. And when I reported it, because I couldn't have a sleep, there was times where I have to leave this place, go and stay in hostels or hotels, wherever I can go, not to stay alone in here, until I had all the facts about who lived here before me, you understand? So I had to invoke a lot of prayers coming from Africa. Usually when I don't understand, I just talk to one person or two, and they send me through the post certain things. I just scatter it always. And then somebody recently gave me, what's the name of it? They gave me some dates. And I mean, it's a dry dates and a mango tree, but it was all in grain, dried ones. So I had to plant it with certain type of incantation they told me to say. And all of those plants are growing fine. And apparently, so my space is a bit more sanitized. I don't know, but I'm digging into it honestly, because I remember when I was at uni, I was studying philosophy, and while there's a teacher, a French teacher, who was teaching me psychology, and he told me to write a piece on African psychology, means this kind of way of seeing the world in a different way, on a different level, because he was telling me there is something about Africans that make deities live on trees, in water, in everything.
Yes,
Can you talk to me about it? Yeah, so when I wrote a piece on it, it went to massive, a university in Toulouse. Toulouse is the south of France. So they wanted to publish it and pay me much. But then I had to consult people that gave me the knowledge in Africa, and some of them, they didn't want to release. They didn't want, I don't know what to, they didn't want to let go on the intellectual property, so I can let But my French teacher wanted just to make people aware of that element of, they call it l'envers du décor, means the other side of the reality that parallelly exists and align with reality, but it's not still the real. You don't touch it, but it exists. So I'm still recopying, I'm still making sense of all of those elements, and I believe it honestly. From what I'm hearing today, I'm going to have to come to it because I've got resources. I just need to organize myself and bring it and put it down here for people to say what, what they think of. But I've still got amulets
I think that was
from
really
my
good.
grandma, but I don't know how to go by things.
I think those people it was good that they were really protective, especially when it comes to our African spirituality, because it has been so, stripped away by the West, really, and that we've forgotten ourselves and who we are as people. So I'm very pleased about that part, like really pleased about that part.
I need to say that I do sing in the play sometime, but those songs, they originated from Turkey. It's a Sufi element. Sufism is a kind of Buddhism on an Islamic kind of thing, or Kaaba. And it's a spiritual element that is not linked to practical Islam, but it's spiritual. Where in Turkey they do sing and dance, invoking things to generate happiness and safety or whatever. Even when they want a good season of rainy season, or if they want somebody to get pregnant, they could dance and sing. That's the way they invoke deity. It's not Islamic, but it is called the Sufism. I don't know if anybody heard of those kind of things called the Sufism. And the philosophers also, as well, they call it Sophia. The Sophia in philosophy is the same meaning than Sufism. It's the spiritual energy or element of energy of spirituality that exists in, because religion is too formalized, but at the end of it, I think at the bottom of it, it's just spirit.
Exactly, and that's the whole thing about religion. As say, organized religion, man-made religion. It's all to get us away from our energetic self. God lives within us. The universe lives within us. Spirit lives within us. Everything lives within us. It is all within. But again, the more they take us further away, the more the people get rich because they use us. They harvest our energy. They harvest our bodies. They use our minds. Social media bleeds us dry, Oh, and also there's something else, and I'm going to bring in JJ. You've been so patient. So when I said earlier that I receive intuitive messages and I receive things that I have no idea what these words are until I start Googling them. So a couple of years ago, I didn't even know what capitalism was. I Googled that. Late stage capitalism is what came into my head. Also, do you guys remember that ray gun? The Australian breakdancing lady from the Olympics.
Yes.
Do you remember that? Yeah, you remember Ray Gun? In my head, somebody said Australian nepotism. And that was even before it came out that her husband was on that board. Somebody told me that in my head. Also, there's something else called the intellectual vacuum that was put into my head. So let me tell you about this one, because this one actually I think was one of the most mind-blowing things. So the intellectual vacuum, right? Let me look it up because there's not many entries about it. It is basically about how there are, and I've said this I think before on a live before, Beth, where I said, do you know how it feels like you're in I know it generally feels like we're in a completely different reality, but talking to people and how some of them are so stupid, like really fucking stupid, like really crazily stupid. Whereas before we used to have some kind of connection between all of us, I would say, as humans, right? We would have some kind of things in common. We'd be able to have basic conversations. But now some people are so stupid and you're just like, oh my God, they are actually like the definition of stupidity. So basically what the intellectual vacuum is, let me read the definition of it. It says, intellectual vacuum represents a profound mental state characterized by serenity and devoid of material attachment. It signifies a space where consciousness exists beyond concrete reality, likened to formless realm, and from which thoughts and creativity emerge. This concept aligns with spiritual knowledge, emphasizing a pure consciousness free from worldly perceptions. As described in Purana, it can be viewed as metaphorical emptiness where intellect operates, ultimately serving as the source of all existence and reality. And it actually goes back to a Hindu concept But the main thing that I wanted to read actually was about that it was to do with, hold on, let me find the actual definition. It was about, here we go. Yes, research. It's on ResearchGate. I don't know if you guys ever go on the site ResearchGate. ResearchGate for me is the best. It's actually one of the biggest kind of resources for like psychological papers. It's got 25 million plus members, 160 million publications, 2.3 billion citations. It's brilliant. So this is the definition I wanted to read. So this is from August 2016, okay? The intellectual vacuum is a term coined by the scientist and philosopher Fayez Ahmed. Ahmed introduced this term in his book, Intellectual Vacuum. Ahmed asserts that the human civilization had been developed by the intellectual enlightenment in different ages. In his book, Ahmed describes how the writers, poets, philosophers, political activists, painters, singers, and so on, who had been played a key role in social changes through their work. In his book, Ahmed warned that that this enlightenment had been halted through the ages by killing, exile, imprisonment, assassination, persecution, and financial predicament. Ahmed demonstrates alarmingly that at present now, how different governments, political parties, and other stakeholders of state are strangling the intellectual activities willingly across the world to secure their ruling power, collaborating with religious fundamentalists. Ahmed termed this deviation and interruption as intellectual vacuum. Ahmed adduced that due to the killing, exile, imprisonment, assassination, and persecution, an unprecedented severe intellectual vacuum has been created in Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Somalia, Nigeria, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and so on. So, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. See, right? So that's something that came in my head. Intellectual vacuum. I said, what the hell? Let me look that up from 2016 about how the elites are controlling religion and keeping people stuck in that area so they can continue all of this killing, exile, imprisonment, assassination, persecution. Like, I was really, wow, I can't believe I was told that in my brain.
And what's ironic is, it seems to be the three Abrahamic religions as well.
Yes. Yes, it is. Exactly. Where do these ones affect? Like, I read them there. I said them there. Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Somalia, Sudan, Nigeria, Iran, Saudi Arabia, so on. You know, and I think this is what's really kind of sad is that I've moved to a Muslim country, and as you know, and I actually do really quite enjoy the religion from what I'm seeing, right? How people are practicing it, the energy here, and generally a lot of Muslim countries I go to, it's so peaceful. It's really peaceful. But again, when you get people and all religions, right, is how you get people from the evil side who then try to take things to a next level, who try to control people through that. You know, and of course, unfortunately, you had Afghanistan on the list, but why does Afghanistan have such a Sharia law? You know, of course, Sharia law in its entirety is because of British and American involvement and invasion, where they pushed the most severest level of Islam onto these countries to keep women oppressed, you know, and this is what I think is the most saddest thing, right, is the interpretation of Islam, is that it's a religion, I think, that has obviously been very threatened by, well, the Western world has been very threatened by Islam. And of course, that's happening again now, right? Where people are so afraid of Sharia law and they're afraid of Muslims. They're afraid of this situation, this thing where they don't have any clue about what the religion actually is and what it teaches. And again, how men are really punished in such a severe way, and the protection of women simultaneously. You know, if they actually took some time out of their own ego, they would understand this. Right, JJ, I'm going to bring you in finally. JJ, how are you?
Yeah, hello. Hello?
Hello. Thank you for being so patient. I've also been reading your comments as well in the chat. as we've been talking. So yeah, you seem to be agreeing with a lot of the stuff that we're talking about here. So yes, what would you like to add?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I was actually typing, keeping myself occupied till I came on. I'm basically quite new on TikTok, and I'm flicking through, getting used to it. But my main interest is shows similar to this, and around this kind of deep level, if you like, or whatnot. But I actually really wanted to pose a question. So, I mean, from the heading, obviously, Fox, you said. By the way, I followed and stuff like, so, but yeah, yeah, about the spiritual awakening, because like according to some sources, there's multiple different type of spirits, yeah, and spirit awakening. Well, I wouldn't say I could experience. I've experienced one, but I have awoken in certain ways, in terms of in being enlightened, and learning things that about my inner self and stuff, my spiritual side, and all them other things around that. But I think like main common religions, if you like, talk about spiritual having 4 types of spirit, like Holy Spirit, human spirit, demonic spirit, so on, so on. But I think in Buddhism, like they have more. But anyway, my point is, everyone, do you believe everyone have their own distinct spirit, and how does it affect the actual, your actual physical side of everyday, your life and other people? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most definitely. Everybody has their own spirit and they have their own energy.
Yeah.
And again, when it comes to a spiritual awakening, that's when you understand how your energy doesn't stand alone. We're all connected, right? We're all
Right.
connected. Every single one of us is connected. I mentioned earlier that I was a twin flame, and of course my twin flame and we live 4,000 miles away, but I was still having dreams about the person. And,
Oh, wow.
and genuinely, when you have people, when you say, oh, I was just thinking about you, and they text you or they call you,
Yeah.
it's because we're all still connected, right? But we just have an individual responsibility to nurture our souls, to nurture our spirit, to nurture our energy, so that when we move through the world, other people feel comfortable around us, they feel happy around us, we can share, we can grow, we can learn. It's the
Yeah.
people with the bad energy and the bad vibes that
The low
unfortunately,
vibe.
yeah, they make it difficult for the rest of us, right? So that's why we have to keep making sure that we're not spending time around those
Exactly.
people, so we can continue to
Yeah.
nurture our energy and
Right.
also not have our existences pulled apart, because it's easy for those people, and they do it a lot. When we start talking about spirituality, there's always those people who are like, oh, you're not crazy, there's a doctor that you can call, blah blah blah. Every time I get on the other side of TikTok and I make a comment about hearing from God and blah blah, all the things I've discussed today, they're like, yeah, you should go and see a psychologist. And I'm just like, have you got anything new to say? That's how I always combat it. I'm like, have you literally got anything original? Because I think that's the difference. Even with spiritually awakened people, even before we were spiritually awakened, I think we still have some kind of inherent knowledge and inherent understanding that life
Yeah.
is different. We still respect the fact that there are religions, and we respect
Yeah.
people of different beliefs, even though we don't necessarily believe. We understand a lot more. And so I always say to those people, I'm so glad that I'm not as closed-minded as you are, because life is so much more beautiful through my lens, because I accept everything. I accept the good, the bad, the ugly
Yeah.
about life.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not, it's not about being close-minded. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Wow, amazing, man. Yeah, because sometimes it's like I know a bit of the answer, if that makes sense, but I need confirmation, clarity, and a reminder, if that makes sense. Because it's weird, because it's like I'm like 45 now, so like I've spent most of half my life nearly, if I live tonight, whatever, experience many different things like that. I can't really explain my experiences, but I can, but to an extent. But my point is, the more human abilities and capabilities advance, and the more likely it is for our brains to, if you like, expand, not in size, but in deeper knowledge and
Yeah.
yeah, more spiritual knowledge or, you know, stuff like that, or information that is beyond at this point or in the past, which is, would you say, normal growth or, but I mean, as time goes by, I'm starting to pick up and reciprocate that energy and with others. And I'm getting a lot of, you know, what's the word? It's like I feel like I'm getting too much in one and I can't contain all this, you know, deep stuff. But like shows like yours break it down for me and I'm really enjoying it and I'm really interested in, and, you know, big up to the panel, big up to the chats, people and that. And I'll just say thanks for having me. I really appreciate that time. And yeah, I'll still listen. No problem.
Thank you so much. Like, I'm really glad that you came up and this is your first experiences of a TikTok. Generally, this is not what I talk about. My platform is very much about British history and English people and all the gaslighting that they do and white narcissism and that kind of shit that we have to deal with, right? And also being black, navigating ourselves in a Western world. But generally, my conversations the last few weeks have been very much about feminine energy, masculine energy, looking at the new world. This is Becca in the chat says it was fate that you came across this live as if the spirits guided you, because obviously this is something that you needed to hear. You said that you needed some things validated. So I'm really glad that I've been able to help with that today. Very, very glad, because generally what I found is that the space that I do has been validating for a lot of people. I speak generally to validate myself, you know, because we have to talk about these things, because otherwise you do feel crazy. You do feel like, oh my God, what is this? Am I going through this alone? So, and it took me 2 years to actually be able to talk about this stuff, because I did feel crazy. I did. But then the universe and spirit just kept saying, Fox, you need to talk, you need to talk, you need to talk. And it was harassing me until I started talking. But now it's a lot easier to talk about things. So I'm really glad. So thank you for coming up. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, we've got Hi on the panel. Hi, I think you've got some things you want to add, and also you maybe have some skepticism, which is really good. Hi, how are you? Hello? Hello, hi on the panel. Okay, you're taking. Hello?
Yo.
Yes, hello. Yes, you're here. We can hear you now.
So why do you hate English people?
Huh?
You had me, boyo.
Okay, you're disconnected. If you can't read plain and simple English on the screen, you'll see that that's not the topic today. See what English people do in their narcissism. They try to take the conversation into something completely different because they want to have some kind of attention, because they're very devoid of attention. Fazer in the chat says, Jesus, God do not exist, £1,000 if I'm wrong. So yeah, I don't know if you're still here, Fazer, if that's how you pronounce your name, pre-Fazer. So yeah, as I said earlier, I was an atheist for over 40 years. And in that time, I said about my blasphemous ways, because I didn't believe that God existed. I stood on a Bible, swore at the sky with my 2 fingers, and I'm swearing on the Bible. I was like, Jesus is a person. And even actually, the reason why I didn't believe in God is because I attached God to being a man. And there's no way that any man could be that powerful, right? So in my mind, I said, this is unrealistic. It's completely unrealistic. But then, as part of the spiritual awakening, that's when I started to understand energies more, that we're all energy. This universe is an infinite container of energy. And how did this energy come about? The universe had to create it. So this is the problem. JJ, I'm glad that you enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so much. What the problem is that, again, the interesting thing is that science, spirituality, religion are all the same thing. But humans needed to have a interpretation to understand things. So God, universe, and science is like the same. They're the same thing. People call it the universe. Before I was spiritually awakened, I used to say, thank you, universe, for keeping me safe. I just started saying it out of nowhere. I just started saying it from out of nowhere. And then my spiritual awakening happened. And it took me a long time to even say the word God, like a long time, because of my feelings and my thoughts about what God was, or what I thought God was. A long time. I could not even speak that word. It made me feel so uncomfortable. So uncomfortable. JJ, you think there's multiverses? Yes, there most definitely is. I know that I'm living another reality simultaneously because I've seen it. I've seen the other realities that I'm simultaneously living. I've seen it. Izzy, thank you so much for the request up. I am going to end it now though, because I need the ladies' room. I need the ladies' room. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Thank you so much. OPP says British people are not from Germany. Why would you say that British people are not from Germany? They're not from Germany. If you read my profile correctly, it says English people are not from Germany. Again, English people, you struggle with reading English, especially when it's in large font like this one, and also smaller fonts on my profile. So thank you so much, everybody, for this wonderfully enlightening chat. Like, really, it's been so good for me. Really great guest. This is Beth. It's been so nice to speak to you one-on-one on the panel. Really good. Thank you so much for sharing the stuff. And I'm going to actually, you know what? Should I get one of my little puppies before we get, and I'll show you, how they're doing. 1 minute. Let me put it on big camera and let me bring a puppy because I want to show you. Hold on. How do we do this? We do this. La 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 la. I forgot how to do it. Turn off effects. Yes, here. Yes, let me go and get my favorite puppy. So some of you guys know this, some of you don't. A homeless dog came and gave birth to 9 puppies in my garden. So they're a week old. So I'm going to get my favorite one because I love this one so much. And maybe I'll keep him. So let me see. Let me get I need a torch. Hold on. Let me get this light. Yeah, I'm coming. I'll be right back. I'm coming. Hello, my darling. Yeah, I know. So this is one of 9. This is Little Pumpkin. Look at this. Oh my God. I know, right? See, they haven't opened their eyes yet. But yeah, this one is my favorite. I say I want to keep this one. Hopefully they'll survive. Obviously, it's really difficult having 9 puppies because the mother, if the milk, I'm trying to keep her as nurtured as possible. And I actually bought a baby bottle for the first time as well. So I've been trying to feed this one because this one is the smallest. The other ones are bigger. And they've definitely been greedy when it comes to milk. But this one is still very tiny, So I'm spending more time with this one, trying to get their energy up. But honestly, they're so cute. I can't even take it. Yeah, I know, little sausage. I know.
Oh my God.
I know, so special. Meow, meow. I know, darling. You were sleeping? Yeah. I know. So precious, honestly. So precious. It's such a beautiful gift. Again, gifts from the universe. Something really interesting. I'm just going to put you on my lap. Let me put you down here, darling. I know. I actually did get a second dog. There was actually another homeless dog that used to be owned before by a neighbour, but that neighbour abandoned the dog and it was just hanging around. And then as I'm a dog person, I leave my door open and she was here all the time and she was so lovely. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna keep this dog. I'm gonna have her. Only a week after I said I would own her, she's disappeared. I've not seen her since November last year. But that homeless dog that comes now, looks almost similar to that dog. Looks almost similar. And they used to hang out together, actually. When we used to walk around the village, my dog that I had was like, oh, come on, homeless, like, have a dog, come and walk with us. So kind of got them to, be friends and connected. So I don't know if that dog brought, because Beth, how they do, the dogs will bring another dog as part of your story. So maybe my other dog, the intention was to bring these dogs just to give me a little blessing and maybe have another puppy, because I want to keep this one. I've just got such a shining to this little one. And the funny thing, even my other dog, Milo, who was sleeping on the floor, he was not the dog that I chose either. He was not the dog that I personally chose. I chose another dog. Unfortunately, sadly, she was poisoned. I managed to save her, but she wasn't the same again. But I got another dog as a friend for her, which was this dog. So I ended up with him. Yeah, and I didn't expect him. He was 10 weeks old when I got him, a puppy. He was in a car park. We didn't know where his parents were. I'm talking about you. He's just looked up. I didn't even say your name. And he's looked up at me like, you're telling my story? Like, yes, I am telling your story. That when you were in that car park over on the other side there, and we didn't know where your parents were, and you were a teeny, tiny puppy, and now you're a big boy. I was not expecting that at all. I was not expecting it.
I do that with my dogs as well, like have a full-on conversation with them.
Yeah, exactly. You know this. You have the full conversation. They understand you. You talk back, and they will be like confused sometimes, or sometimes they'll understand. Like, yes, I got it. I got it. I love that. Right. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much for a great chat. Really appreciate everybody here. And how nice was it today, Beth, that we didn't actually need to do much moderation because the conversation was different.
It was lovely.
It was, wasn't it? No stress, just chats. No angry English people. I love it. Right. Thank you so much, everybody. I don't know when I'm going to be on. Yeah, thank you, JJ. I'm glad that you enjoyed it as well. Thank you, everybody else, for viewing. Thank you again to Mods, as usual. Thank you for being here. And yeah, I'm just going to wait for the universe to give me a new idea of what I'm going to say. Because for the past few years, Beth, the ideas have been like, Fox, you need to talk about this, you need to talk about this. But now it's calmed down quite a lot. So I don't know if I'm going to be doing as frequent lives. Let's see what the universe wants me to talk about. So, I'll post a status or something, or I'll put it in the mod group when I'll next be on. But thank you so much and have a great rest of your Monday, guys.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, Beth. Bye, everyone. Bye. Oh, why can't I hang up? It's not working.